2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
It is perfect. Welcome to the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Every Tuesday night, we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name is Tony Dunn. Follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. We got a great show for you tonight. When I say a great show, I got a question. Has Matt Rhule learned his lesson? Has he learned his lesson? We'll be talking about the hirings or the new acquisitions to the coaching staff that Matt Rhule's made over the last few days since we have talked, I guess, since Friday. On top of that, we've got some big-time NFL news. Big news. Lawsuits happening. Collusion. Exclusion. Collusion, exclusion. And it all kind of dovetails somehow back to the C3 Panthers podcast. And I got my co-host, Cody Lashney, to help me break it down. What's up, man?
Tony Dunn, listen, man. Today was quite the day for NFL news, man. And it seems like we have a good bit of luck of Tuesdays being that day when news ends up dropping, man. It's like the football gods knows that your boys are about to get on YouTube, get on Facebook, get on Periscope, and we're about to rap about our favorite football team, the Carolina Panthers, and we're going to do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony. You already know them and love them. We have our mans Drew, ATX19, Brad Holt, Joey the Blind Panther, Kego Fort, Ted Sims, Thomas Tomlinson, Trap, Trill 1, Tony. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number is 252-228-5098. That is 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the show. Jump in the chat room, smash the thumbs up button, leave a message at like the number I said, 252-228-5098. We'll play it on the podcast. Before we jump into the show, I gotta say, good, I hope. CK, you feeling better?
Much better.
Amen, I say to you. Welcome back. I'm glad you're back on the mend.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. And it's, listen, we have NFL news to talk about. And I mean, I think we're gonna have to talk about the what we've seen out of these teams in the playoffs. I know we're not playing in the playoffs, and a lot of people are gonna say let's keep it to Panthers, but I think it's a valid conversation to be having when you see what other teams have been able to do and what their coaching staffs and what a good quarterback can do for a team on top of all of that. I think we need to have those conversations tonight as well as maybe rooting for a Jim Harbaugh hire in Minnesota. So we'll talk a little bit about it, guys. But I'm excited to get this conversation underway.
Joe Burrow, cold as ice, homie. And
Cold as
Jim
ice.
Harbaugh potentially moving out of the Michigan cold, trying to find a new job. I guess they say it's warm in Minnesota. I guess not for Jim Harbaugh. Greg, the Bat Daddy. How you doing, man? Isn't there a new Batman coming out like in 2 seconds?
Yeah, not too far from now. About a month
Is
away,
it
I
gonna be
believe.
good?
It
Should we
looks
be hype
pretty
about
good.
it? Like, because all y'all, like, everybody came back from the Spider-Man saying like that thing was dope. I love all the Batmans, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like even the ones people
all-
hate on,
Yeah.
I would watch with you. Is this gonna be good?
I think it is, man. I had my my doubts at first, just because the way it looked, but now that it's looked finished and I see kind of
Well,
the
what's
finished product,
changed? Tell us what changed.
I wasn't a fan of the suit, but the when I first saw it, but now that I've seen him moving in it and everything else, it looks a little. I can kind of live with it. I didn't know about Robert Pattinson as Batman, but it seems like he can play this role, so I'm gonna give it a chance, obviously. And the fact that Matt Reeves is directing it. Did you like Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, I loved it.
He directed those. So if you
Was
like
the-
those,
he directed
those.
the newest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, those are good. I like.
I was down with that. I thought all those movies were very good.
Yeah, so he can carry a story, and he does good with special effects. Like, so I think it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
But hey, I
glad
wanted
to
to say,
hear it.
man, we have so much news going on this week in the NFL that we didn't even. I may have missed it. Did anybody say anything in the opening of the show about the Bengals are in the damn Super Bowl?
I mean,
The
It gives
Bengals
us hope,
are in the Super
man.
Bowl. Like,
cold.
It gives us
What
hope.
is
Maybe
this
that could
wrong?
It
be
doesn't
us
give you
one day,
hope,
man.
bro. What
Why
does it
does
give
it-
you hope about? Tell me that, Cody.
They have the
What
worst
does it give
offensive
us hope
line
about?
in the
Yeah,
world.
I mean, look,
and they
much
last
more
year,
weapons
making it.
now. Much
But-
more weapons
and
now. Better
last year they were 4-12 with the first year quarterback who had his ACL and MCL torn to shreds. Oh, and by the way, the year before they were 2-14 and earned the number 1 pick in the draft. Like, that's pretty damn bad. And especially knowing that Matt Rhule and I believe Fitterer are at the Senior Bowl. And they're looking at these quarterbacks. They're looking at Kenny Pickett, who we need to have a discussion about sometimes. We need to have a discussion about Malik Willis. And yeah, what CK just said, that Bengals offensive line, for my money, is probably the worst offensive line that I've ever seen make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, to the Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl. Like,
Caveat.
when's the last time you
Caveat.
saw
I think this is a
quarterback got sacked
poor.
9 times?
I'm sorry. I don't think the comparison between the Panthers and the Bengals is a good one at all.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Right? Is that first you're talking about a organization that is all right? So our organization is less than 30 years old, and we've made a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, and several playoff experiences. These mugs have not won a playoff game in like 31 years. You know what I'm saying? Like more time than we've existed.
Yeah.
And then they won 3 in a row. And like, oh, you're like, oh, well, they sucked two years ago. But they also sucked 10 years ago and 20 years ago. So like saying, oh, they just sucked 2 years ago, you can turn it around. It took them 31 years to turn it around.
But
Number one.
that's
Number two.
kind of
No. And the other thing is this, is that it's like you have the number 1 pick. You finally got it right in Joe Burrow. You got a guy that is cold as ice, homie. Because I tell you this, you put number 1 picks, put Kyler Murray behind that line, he would be done.
Mhm.
Sorry. Joe Burrow, cold, bro.
Yeah,
He cold. Like it is like, so this is, I just don't think it's like, oh, well, they did it, so we should be able to do it. And on top of that, it took them 31 years to do it.
Right. Well,
but
I was looking at-
I kind of think that that's our points, though. Like, they're so bad.
How is
They've
that your
been bad for
point?
so long because they've been a worse franchise than even the Carolina Panthers for 30 years, and now they're in the Super Bowl. Like, it shows you that you don't have to be a bottom-dwelling franchise for very long if you know how to play your cards right.
Let me ask you a question. Why? What part of the Bengals did you think was better than the Panthers 2 years ago?
Yes, and Tony. Tony, that's for you.
I don't want to suck all the air up in the room. I felt like I made a good case.
You did make a good case.
Is this a for me or against me, CK? What was better than? What was the question again?
What was better about the Bengals than the Carolina Panthers 2 years ago?
Record. Well, not record.
They were nope.
Okay, listen. Okay, go ahead. Make your point, and then I want to counter all this.
2 years ago, the Bengals got the number 1 draft pick in the NFL because they had the worst record in the NFL.
This is a good point.
Right?
CK come in here throwing fucking bombs up in here.
Right?
And
last year, they were a top 10 pick, and they got another. They were a bad last year as well. So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, they have a poor offensive line. They have a very. I mean, I'm just. That's my point.
Right. Just 2 years ago, it's such a beautiful. That is like the. All right. So in philosophy, like philosophers, they try to make these logical arguments that are like impervious to criticism.
Right.
And usually, like the best of arguments, you turn the actual argument on itself. Right. There's a great example of this. His name is WVO Quine. He said this: there is no belief immune to revision. So he said there, like, every idea can be revised. Right? He just said, imagine this: every single idea could be revised. It's like an impervious argument, it feels like.
Right.
And then someone just said this: can you revise that belief? And it just boom. And that's what CK just did. CK put the argument on itself, straight back to the source. 2 years ago, name one thing better. Greg, your turn.
Let me counter this. Y'all look, when in doubt, zoom out, man. It's just like stocks. You guys are looking 2 years ago. Okay. 2 years ago. The Bengals for the last 10 years have been a pretty damn good team. They've made the playoffs 6 years in a row. Now, they haven't won a playoff game, but a team that makes the playoffs is a pretty damn good team. The difference in the Bengals and Tony, this is where I was looking at it differently than you. When I think the Panthers are not like the Bengals, is in the last 2 years, they've been in a rebuild and they've done it right. Oh. That's the difference. They have better coaching.
Another kneecap to the argument.
I'm telling you, man, the last 2 years have been terrible for them, but they've done it right. The only thing they haven't done is built an offensive line, which guess what? You have, I think, like the second or third youngest team in the NFL, like collectively. If all your guys are on their rookie or second year contracts, right, or second years right now, you've got a long time to be able to build that line and re-sign players. This team is moving. This team is going to be a team to look out for in the future. They've done it right. So I wouldn't say that. That's why I think they're different than Carolina. They went in the right direction. We went in the wrong direction, but they haven't been a bad team the last 10 years.
The difference, the reason that I say there's optimism, which I think we have to look at, is they did a rebuild for us. They did a rebuild.
We talk about the Bengals and their optimism.
They did a rebuild, and they're in the Super Bowl after 3 years of rebuilding, right? So the reason I say that is because I think we all were thinking, we're 5-6 years away. There is a real chance that the Panthers are rebuilding, and if we do it the right way, especially if this news about Jim Harbaugh and Matt Rhule being gone possibly it comes to fruition, then I think there is real things to be excited about if you're a Carolina Panther.
Okay, I'll counter your point that you said earlier.
This is when I'm watching these with the Bengals, watching some of these teams. It turns out it's not about time; it's about players.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
like Joe Burrow just completely changed that.
Yeah.
Look, he got sacked 9 times and they still won. Like, that's bullshit, first of all. Like, that is, like...
Well, that was the last game.
Wrong. That's not supposed to happen in the world. You sack their quarterback 9 times and he still beats your ass?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like, that's stupid. Yeah. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. And then, on top of that, they went and drafted Jamar Chase Right? Like, I mean, you could have known this as your franchise quarterback who we think is special, got his knee blown out last year because we don't have an offensive line. So what do we do? First round, we draft a skill player. And then this mug, you think it's the dumbest thing. Actually, I would say the Bengals didn't do it right. And then you're like, holy shit. This mug then went and set the record for the rookie yards in like the history of football. So like you can't even say it was a bad move. Like I don't even understand. Joe Burrow. That's all I say is this: is that Burrow is cold, bro.
Well, how about this? There's a little bit of credence to both of your arguments because I can make the case that the Bengals did fail their rebuild. They took Joe Burrow, and then they, you didn't have an offensive line to be able to protect him. And then this year,
that's what's going to
you
lose
had
in
the
Super Bowl
opportunity to draft either Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater, and they didn't do it. And by the way, their offensive line was still bad this year. But man, when you look at what it goes to, and Tony's right on this, I've said this a long time too. Your franchise quarterback is what dictates whether you are a legitimate contender to make a push or not. The best thing that ever happened to the Cincinnati Bengals was sucking bad enough to draft Joe Burrow number 1.
Let me ask y'all then, if y'all are optimistic about the future with this, and we asked a little while ago, what 2 years ago did the Bengals have better than the Panthers? I'm going to flip that. What in 2 years from now do you think the Panthers can have better than the Bengals? Because I'll go ahead and tell you, we're not going to have a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. We're not going to have a better wide receiver than Jamar Chase. And we're not going to have a better running back.
Why are you talking about that shit, bro?
I'm just saying that's why I don't feel like we're following that footsteps. I don't think.
Thank God they're in the other conference.
Let's look at the history of the NFL over the past 5 years of quarterbacks. Yes, there have been some major busts, but let's talk about what there has been. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. Now you got to look at the people that could be potential with Zach Wilson. You got to look at Cody's boy down in Jacksonville,
Lawrence,
right?
Justin Fields.
So
Trey Lance.
Right. I mean, so to say that there isn't a chance that we're going to find somebody like that is these guys are being built different, dude. Like when you see these guys coming out of college, there is a lot more hits than there were misses a long time ago.
Yeah. And I think point. Tony can give me some credit on this too. I've said this for a while that quarterbacks and receivers coming into the NFL are now more prepared than they ever have been. These kids have been learning NFL route trees and NFL playbooks at quarterback camps since they've been in middle school. A lot of this stuff isn't very new to them like it was, 20 years ago when you have a college player going to the NFL. So, I think people look at how much money these quarterbacks are signing for. And if you have the ability to do it, why not go be a quarterback in the NFL? There's a lot of really talented quarterback prospects that are in this draft alone. And I know I'm long-winded here, but if you look at that draft with Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, that was not considered to be a good quarterback draft going into it. They thought that it was a down year for quarterbacks, and at least 2 of those guys ended up being pretty good. So, I mean, the story is yet to be written on this current crop of quarterbacks coming through.
Let's jump into Carolina Panthers news. We got some hires to talk about in just a moment, but the latest story on Panthers.com, Q&A between Darren Gant and Scott Fitterer as we approach, I guess it's starting right now, right? Basically the Senior Bowl. Is it right now? It's close to now. I feel like
they're doing practices today.
Yeah, so Darren Gant, who I like him and his humor sometimes. Like, actually, a lot of times he makes me laugh. I thought this was an interesting question. When I say interesting, the lamest question I've ever heard. Sorry, Darren. I really don't like this question. He said this, quarterbacks will obviously be a big focus this week. Is this as good a group as has been at this event? That was the question. Is this as good a group as has been at this event? And what I don't like about this question, or what I hate about this question, is it's qualifying an answer right away. So right away, he's getting him to just say, no, it's not the best quarterback group we've ever heard. And he's giving him an out 100% on this question to the beginning. And you can say that you're trying to temper the discussion and you don't want to get fan the flames of quarterback lust. But this is like the wet blanket. I don't like it. So is this as good a group as has been at this event? Fitter's response was this: there have been some good years here. Justin Herbert was here just a few years ago. There's always good talent. It'll be interesting to see how these guys throw this week. We'll get a look at Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett and all the guys that are here and get a feel for them. And it's always different seeing them in person than it is on tape. That's why it's important to see them. I like how he mentioned Malik Willis first. That's interesting to me. But geez, what kind of question is this? Like, no, I mean, like what? No, yes, it's the greatest quarterback group in the history of the universe. What kind of stupid ass question was this, Darren? And I'm calling you out because you call people out too when they ask you dumb questions. I ain't trying to be mean about it, but that's it. I want a good question.
Yeah, and something else to consider, or at least to keep in mind, is I like Fitterer way better than Matt Rhule because of how he answers questions. And I think a lot of times he's very forthright with their evaluation process and just how they look at things. And again, so to echo what you just said, he says, we'll get a look at Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett and all the guys that are here and get a feel for them. He would also go on to say, anytime you're in the top 10, you've got to think about taking a shot on a quarterback if you're able to. Which is interesting because they didn't do that last year, but I digress.
Right.
He goes, but there is a
and
value
now that we're all back, our backs are against the wall. Now we're here having to do it. Now you want to do it, which is fine at this point. Like, we'll talk about Pickett, Willis a lot, but now you want to be like that. Agreed.
He also talks about position value too. He says, but there is a value to position. Left tackles, corners, 3 techs, pass rushers, those are the game changers on your team along with your quarterbacks. A safety can be, but it's not always probably at that level. Interesting. And then
do you think that's smoke for the guy that everybody loves?
Kyle Hamilton?
Yeah. All right. So what about this? What if you're coming out here and throwing a little smoke shade on the safety position because you want it? Come to me, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with how bad this offense
already
is this year,
we want a quarterback. We want a quarterback. The other team will be like, oh, they're going to take Pickett. They're going to take Pickett. And then you get the best player in the draft, according to a lot of people, like a transcendent player. He's the only player where people have been jizzing for him that I've heard out of everybody in the draft. People go crazy on them mug.
Well, can I ask you? It sounds like maybe it's just the media that we're reading. It sounds like everybody here is kind of leaning towards wanting a quarterback. I thought a few weeks ago, like we were going to be mad if we drafted a quarterback.
I haven't ruled it out. Okay. My philosophy is you have to judge every draft class in a vacuum. You can't compare it to years before. You have to look at the talent available to you in that draft.
I think that's a wonderful point. Yeah, like who's going to argue with that?
If you go through these idioms of, you have this and that, so therefore you can't draft this and that, or traditionally these types of players don't do well because yada, yada, yada.
Doesn't it devalue players that are valuable by accident?
Well,
I think you're devaluing people and valuing people by accident. You're not even meaning to. You're giving them attributes of other people.
And you're also looking at someone that has the qualities that you're looking for in a quarterback.
Right.
So if you fall in love with Malik Willis throughout this process and you think that you have a franchise quarterback on your hand, well, his numbers might not have been there, but if you feel like you can give him a set of circumstances that can cause them to be successful, then yeah, you take a chance on a player like that. By the way, just last year, the 49ers did that very same thing in drafting Trey Lance. And I ultimately think that's going to pay off for them in the future.
But the Bengals did that, and you said it was the wrong thing when they drafted Burrow.
No, I never said that was the wrong thing.
Just a little while ago, you said that they did the draft the wrong way, the rebuild the wrong way.
Oh, no, but
no, as far as the offensive line, they got
that wide receiver instead of getting a. So
okay,
they got
so not
Burrow.
the Burrow thing; it was the wide receiver thing. My bad.
And even then, from a stereotypical perspective, most people are going to say you have to go offensive line right there.
Right.
But the Bengals didn't do that, and they went and got Jamar Chase, and that guy is, the centerpiece of their offense.
And
most of the time, that doesn't work out, and getting the offensive lineman
right
for a quarterback would be the safer, more
right.
Beneficial move. It's just crazy that Jamar Chase then went and had the greatest season in the history of rookies.
Right.
Like he made Randy Moss look like Randy Moss even got to be quiet. And Randy Moss is like my favorite. Who's your favorite non-Panther? I have two.
Of all time? Or
of all time. I've got two. Like a player that you would fucking rock their George, like
Shannon Sharp,
an Anquan Bolden or Edgerrin James, or
I would say Shannon
Larry
Sharp.
Johnson is up there for me, but those ain't in my list. I fuck with a Larry Johnson jersey, bro.
Yeah,
which is a Chiefs man. If you're rocking the Larry Johnson jersey at the Chiefs game, bro, you dope. You cool as fuck.
I don't know. There've been a bunch of cool ones historically, but I can't most of the players that I think of are players that are.
Mine is Randy Moss,
right
number one. Number one is Randy Moss. Number two, and I mean when I say one, it's like 1A, 1B. Randy Moss and Marshall Faulk.
Ooh, Marshall Faulk's a good one.
Like give me these dudes. Yeah. Like I love these cats, man.
I would say. Yeah, I would have to say Shannon Sharp would be one of mine because I loved watching him with the Broncos when I was younger. I loved playing Madden with the Broncos when I was younger.
190 yards against the Panthers in 1997. This one game,
he was amazing.
I got the notes on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. Plus, I like listening to him now. Talk show.
Again, before 2011. Before 2011, I didn't give too much of a damn about football. Mine is more contemporary.
Like, I mean, like you got some. I feel like you gush over.
Yeah, but they're all still playing.
Cody is now.
No, they're all still playing now. Like, Justin
that's fine.
Herbert,
it's okay.
Justin Herbert is like my fucking man crush, dude. That guy is a badass. I think we both agree on this. I've heard you mention this before.
So new.
No, Cam Jordan, and I know you like him too. Don't lie.
Yeah,
Cam Jordan's a badass. He wreaks havoc. And then someone mentioned it earlier, like Aaron Donald. Like God, if you don't watch Aaron Donald shred a triple team to pieces, and you're not impressed by that dude, like, come on, that's kind of hard to do, And then Joe Burrow. And then Joe Burrow.
We gotta do more fantasy coming up next year.
Let's do it.
We gotta get us more into it. Me, re-enthused. We gotta get Cody enthused because some of my loves in football have been from dudes that meant a lot. Fantasy football teams in the
dude. I'm a
all right. So I used to like this guy a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people I root for too.
Brett Favre, man.
One guy, David Boston. I used to go.
Yeah, that was mine too.
David, man.
When I was a kid, and I've said this before too. When I was a kid, Brett Favre was
so fun to watch.
Yeah, holy shit! I love watching Brett Favre.
Let's see here. Let's talk about some of the people in the chat. People said Emmitt Smith.
Yes.
Matt knows nothing. Said Ed Reed. Ed Reed's a good one. Defensive players.
Ray Lewis.
I know that's great. Yeah,
Ooh.
LT was one for me. That's way old. Sean Taylor, yeah. I mean, everybody loves Sean Taylor. Man, hit like a Mack truck. I'm trying to think of some other defensive players that were badass. Oh, all right. Let's pivot. The number's 252-228-5098. 252-228-5098. We still got to talk about the new hires, but before that, I got a beef. And it's with Panther. It's with the Panther Nation. I'm going to be I'm gonna talk shit about our own family.
Do it.
Yeah, how about that?
I thought you were going to
I
say
don't
maybe
think that Stephon Gilmore should have made the Pro Bowl this year.
Oh, he shouldn't have. He's just
No.
Listen, it's
Like,
similar
this
to
is
Mike.
the most bullshit, and like I don't even like them putting the graphic up for us. Sorry, go ahead, CK. Tell me why.
It's exactly like the Mike Tolbert, getting into the Pro Bowl every year. It's just a recognizable name. Like that's really what it boils down to. Like Luke was still getting into Pro Bowls before, and he wasn't playing at a Pro Bowl level there towards the end.
I don't know. It's like I still felt like he was. Like Gilmore played like 5 games. And that was like 8 games this year. I know somebody's gonna come in the chat, but he had like 3 good plays for the Panthers. He was injured when he got traded to us. And look, I mean, I think he is a Pro Bowl player. Right, and he played well on the interception on 2 plays, 2 interceptions. That's kind of cool. But that man got to the Pro Bowl and Hassan Reddick sitting at home.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
I got a problem with it.
I've been vocal about Brian Burns making the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Agreed. Good for him. He's a young guy. He's talented. But again, the story of this
was
season,
close, though. I mean, he played every game and this and that. Like, we can.
That's the story of the season.
Yeah, but he was not one of the best. He wasn't the best edge rusher on his own team. He wasn't the best edge rusher on his own team. You just said Hassan Reddick should be there. I agree Hassan Reddick should be there. But it's like, look, if we're just being real, thinking about the story of Brian Burns in 2021, it's more near misses than him actually sacking the quarterback.
Right.
Now, you think maybe he can take that next step and those near misses become sacks in the future. That's what you're hoping for. But I don't know, man. Like it is 100% a popularity contest. And it's been like this for years now. There's so many snubs every year of guys that deserve to go to the Pro Bowl, and they're just either not on the right team or they don't play a position that's very popular. CK mentioned Mike Tolbert. I would even think of Trey Turner. Like Trey Turner made the Pro Bowl a bunch of times, and Trey's past few years here in Carolina, we were like, is he really a Pro Bowl guard still?
I feel like you're just saying stuff. I don't think Trey Turner made it a bunch of times. Somebody look that up in the chat.
The past few years, Trey Turner made a bunch.
I don't think he made it undeservingly. We'll see. All right, so chat, look it up. Chat, y'all know it. Stat Daddy will look it up. You
said that Trey Turner in his past few years.
That's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm asking is, did he make a Pro Bowl in the year that I said that? Trey Turner started to fall off after 2016. So, like, if he made a Pro Bowl after 2016, then I think it is on name recognition. And that's just on memory for me. My problem is this: is not 5. That Brian Burns made the Pro Bowl. Is that Stephon Gilmore shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl? I think there's an argument for Brian Burns making the Pro Bowl. There's an argument for Hassan Reddick to make the Pro Bowl. I don't think there really is an argument for Stephon Gilmore to make the Pro Bowl this year.
I agree.
So, by the way, 5-time Pro Bowler Trey Turner from 2015 to 2019, and those are the years that he fell off.
Year. Then y'all,
and that's what I'm saying, man.
If that's
Trey Turner,
true, I don't believe that. That cannot
you don't believe
be
what?
True.
That's right in front of you. It's 100% true. A bunch of different
I
people
feel like Joe Rogan right now. Somebody else look it up.
I'm looking at it. He's right.
Like, I mean, he didn't even play 1 year, basically. Like, wait a second. He wasn't even active.
And he was still the best guard on our team.
So, by the way,
like, how many games
I do remember
he played?
this. He was an alternate a few of those years. Yeah, he definitely was an alternate. There were other people that didn't make it or didn't go for whatever reason.
That. I mean, I feel like 1 year he was just hanging out with us.
Yeah. Like I said, still the best guard on our team, just hanging out with us.
But that proves our point, Tony. It is nothing but a popularity contest.
Then I concede that one. Jeez. Well, then that was you know what? He shouldn't have got it.
That's what I'm saying.
To your point. All right. Look, Smash the thumbs up button. I guess the thing we need to talk about is the name of the show. Man, it is. Like, man, why else would we name the show this? Did Matt Rhule get it right? Did Matt Rhule get anything right? Has he gotten something right? I think he may have, bro.
No.
I'm telling you this. This is crazy, crazy, crazy.
He has an
It
opportunity.
may be too little too late.
Yeah.
Seems like it. But he has made 3 hires. He's been filling spots. The Carolina Panthers got rid of Joe Brady, got rid of Chase Blackburn, Pat Meyer, and Frank Oakham. I'm pretty sure there's the names top to bottom. They have hired an offensive coordinator. They've hired a special teams coach, and they have now hired an offensive line coach. All 3 of the names, a lot of experience. Camden, right? Hold on. I wrote them down earlier. Lost a piece of paper somewhere. McAdoo, offensive coordinator. Tabor, Chris Tabor, special teams coordinator. And Camden, didn't write down his first name. But all 3 of them, like, probably over 40 years of experience between all 3 in the NFL.
Yeah. Camden, not only was he the offensive line coach for a lot of years for the Green Bay Packers, he was also the center for Brett Favre in Green Bay. They have a bunch of different
himself.
Yeah, he was the center for Brett Favre, and then he went from playing for the Packers to coaching Brett Favre and being on the coaching staff the very next year. NFL Films actually put out a really cool video on Twitter. It's Aaron Rodgers talking for like 8 or 9 minutes about this guy and how he is, so beloved in the Packers organization. He returned back there as a coach with the Texans, and everybody was coming up to him and giving him hugs and love and having all kinds of conversations with him. He's very well respected. It isn't going to look great on paper because he's coming from the Texans. And the Texans' offensive line the past few years has not been great, and that's not new news to anyone. But I think it would also kind of be unfair to just judge him for the talent.
He only was their coach for 1 year, though.
Yeah, so it's not.
I think he was only under David Culley. Yep. Go back and look at somebody pull up his resume, but I'm pretty sure he was only with the Texans under the David Culley regime. And to be honest, that is being associated with that Houston Texans team last year is a positive on your resume, in my opinion. They outperformed. They had a better season than we did. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that so? I think that like we can get caught in the historic narrative of what the Texans offensive line is, but let's go back and look at the stats. I'm curious. What were the Houston Texans true stats last year on the offensive line? And on top of that, was he just a 1 year position? Like, you can't associate him with those past years.
Yeah, it would be unfair too. We're kind of starting over with all of these guys, Yeah. It's like a lot of people wanted certain coaches because, Scotty Montgomery was with the running back in Indy. Was it Jonathan Taylor? Or, even McAdoo being connected to Aaron Rodgers, those players were incredible players. So now these coaches have to come in and do it again with a whole different set of guys. And I think that's the mark of a good coach, is someone who has a consistent resume of, making people better, inspiring them to do better every step along the line. And at least with our offensive line coach, I think we made a good hire. I'm really impressed with our special teams hire, Chris Tabor. That's probably the one I'm most impressed with. The past 4 years in a row, he's had one of his special teams players make a Pro Bowl, which is really impressive. So that was probably one of the better hires that we made. And then, McAdoo, as we've said before, he filled the quota. We wanted NFL experience. We want a guy that's called plays, and he has all of those. So, and I think you've made this point a bunch yourself, Tony, is that realistically the Panthers did the best that they could have done given the circumstances that they found themselves in.
Yeah. Hey, you were asking about the stats for the Texans offensive line. They were 29th last year, ranked. He had five different lines. Huh?
So we were 31st.
We were 31st. They were 29th. They had five different linemen on a run block grade lower than 50. As a whole, they were the worst PFF run blocking team in the league. And they the only unit held lower than 55 points on PFF score.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. That didn't help. Yeah. Thank God Camden spent let me see. What is this? Wasn't these? He's 57 years old. Was most recently with the Texans. He spent 15 years with the Packers as an offensive line coordinator from 04 to 018.
That gives me a little more hope.
Camden spent 2019 with the Browns, which I feel like the Browns last year had a good, and 2020. No, maybe it was 2 years ago.
Didn't the Browns go to the AFC?
When did they get Chubb? I feel like
Chubb
they've had
was
Chubb
in
for at least 3 years.
2017.
Oh, yeah. So he would have been there. 2020 with the Chargers. And then the last year with the Texans. Played 7 years in the league with the Saints and the Packers. Started 50 games in his career, like you said. So I think if you look at this hire right here, and then you add on to it the Chris Tabor hire, like you said, 4 years with Chicago, really created a special teams unit that was probably like, or arguably the most consistent unit of the three sides of the football. Right. You know, I mean, like, you know, their offense has stunk. Defense has, you know, consistently. You get Cordell Patterson, Tariq Cohen. I mean, you really are like putting guys out there every year. They're doing a lot. So he coached 7 seasons earlier, Chris Tabor, with the Cleveland Browns through like 3 coaches and had some good accomplishments there. And then you go back even further to the first hire, and that's Ben McAdoo, who spent a lot of seasons with the Green Bay Packers as an assistant coach, tight ends coach, this and that. And then he gets an offensive coordinator, has success with the Giants, and then has head coaching experience. If you just juxtapose these 3 hires with the way that Matt Rhule first put together his coaching staff, I guess I got to ask, has he learned his lesson? And what I mean by that question is, good God, I mean, he went from guys that had 0 coaching experience in the NFL, and I feel like he's listened to the podcast, Cody, and he went out and got tons and tons and tons of pro football experience. There ain't one college, like I can't even find a college record on any of these mugs. Like they may even look. They ain't even sniff college. They've only been in the pros.
But it's like
he oversteered.
It's hard for me to say that he's learned his lesson when it's like, okay, he got a paper cut on his finger, so now he went out and got a Band-Aid for his paper cut. It's like, yeah, the past 2 years were so bad. Of course he's going to go out and get someone with NFL experience, especially when you know after that Joe Person report came out that most of the criticism that's kind of being levied against this team is that there wasn't enough NFL experience. So, yeah, did Matt Rhule do the necessary thing? Yeah, like I just said, I think given the situation the Panthers were in, these are the best hires that we possibly could have made. Even though it doesn't wow the hair back on anyone, it's, you know, the best that the Panthers could have made. But I don't want to go so far as to give him credit saying that he's learned some kind of lesson. To me, the only way I'm ever going to give him any sort of credit is when he starts to win football games, and not a moment sooner, because he isn't deserving of anything else. And frankly, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a second, but if ever there was going to be a scenario under which Matt Rhule would actually leave the Carolina Panthers, I still don't think it'll happen. But if that scenario was ever going to come to fruition, it has a lot to do with what's playing out now with Michigan, with rumors of Harbaugh apparently being the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to interview him tomorrow to see how that goes. But one of the things that is also being reported is that the Michigan the Wolverines, their preferred choice of head coach is Matt Rhule.
Why?
Even in spite,
who's reporting
Why?
that? Tell me who's reporting that. Tell me one person that's reporting that.
Why do people
I
want
don't
this,
believe
man?
that.
I like how y'all think I'm just making it up.
No, I don't think you're making it up. I'm just wondering why anybody would want him.
So this is where it's been reported on 3, and everyone's running with this too. This isn't like just some Michigan Wolverine thing. There have been multiple reports, and it is official that he is interviewing.
No. I agree with that, but what it not? I got no problem with that. What I'm talking about is the preferred candidate is Matt Rhule. I don't got a problem with the Jim Harbaugh report. I'm not even like saying like you're wrong. I'm just saying it ain't real.
So
like,
this is from
how can that even be a real report?
This is from that Sam article. Sources have also confirmed that Carolina Panthers coach Matt Rhule is indeed on Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel's wish list to replace Harbaugh should the Wolverines make an external hire. Rhule is coming off a pair of 5-win seasons at Carolina, but he had great success at Temple, including a pair of 10-win seasons. He led Baylor to an 11-win season in his 3rd year, but finished 2019 season with losses to Oklahoma and Georgia. So,
how many?
And by the way, this isn't out of nowhere.
Truly, is that?
But my thing is,
one
Tony,
is related.
This isn't just people making assumptions out of nowhere.
Right.
It has been rumored for a long time. It has been rumored for a long time that if the Michigan opening came up, that their preferred place or that their preferred hire would be Matt Rhule. It's also been rumored that that would be the job that Matt Rhule would want if he had an opportunity to go back to college. So, we can't just poo-poo this. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think that it's enough. I think Matt Rhule isn't going to be our head coach next year, whether we like it or not. I think it would be even below him to put this much faith in the future and hiring a offensive line coach, special teams coach, all these different coaches, and then for him to just up and leave like before the draft even gets here. That would be that would take quite the set of nuts on Matt Rhule to do something like that. That that brazen.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I don't think he's got the kind of capital that it requires to like dip out on an organization like that.
Well, you got to keep.
I want to like is I need to like when it comes to like. Do you remember when Nick Saban did it? I think Nick Saban didn't he win a national championship with LSU?
Yeah.
Before he left, and I'm not 100% sure with that.
Yeah, he won a national championship in 2007.
07. See, I think he was in the NFL before that. What I'm asking, he went from like he left and he dipped from LSU. He did like Nick Saban has absconded in the night a couple of times. One was from LSU, one was from Miami, then he went to Alabama. But I can't remember if he won a national championship when he was chat. Y'all help us out with that. I just don't think that Matt Rhule has the winning capital. Like, what is it where you're collateral, not capital, collateral to dip? You know what I'm saying? And like go to that job. Imagine if he leaves this failing job and then has a tough season at Michigan.
That would be the
and
tough
then
part.
Another tough. Like how? Like at what point does Michigan even say the fucking process ain't working, huh, man?
But at what
I don't
point,
think he has a lot to work with, a lot of house money.
Well, I mean, luckily he'd be going to a program that doesn't have to be rebuilt, right? Because Jim Harbaugh's already done that. So he wouldn't be going to a scenario where he's going to be at a high risk of failure, right? Right now, Matt Rhule has a high risk of failure for this year under the Carolina Panthers. There's not a clear path to success for him. And I think that pressure mixed with David Tepper's blessing, because I'm telling you now, I think there would be a blessing with this with that. Hey, listen, I wanted to come to you with your thoughts on whether I should do this or that. I mean, I think that it's very possible, and I'm not going to say it's likely, but I think it's very possible we see this this play out in the favor of Matt Rhule going to Michigan if that ends up happening. Because I think David Tepper right now, as much as he wants to, we can debate this. I think he's tired of it as well. I just think it would be embarrassing to fire him, but if he quits, hey, guess what? He gets out of the embarrassment.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, do you think that it's like, okay, are you as confident now at Matt Rhule being our coach next year as you were, a few days ago? Like, do you think this is something that potentially really could happen with Matt Rhule?
Really?
If there is real report, like if this is real reporting saying that he is a potential like that, and I think the reports aren't even saying like he's the guy. They're saying like he's one of the candidates they would like,
Right, yeah.
So
Man,
it's
like
not
no
even
contact.
that. So,
it's like the most distant connection you can make.
right. So, I mean, I think that it's definitely more likely than I would have thought. Just because of the implications. Like if Michigan wasn't open, then no. Yeah, right. Like if that wasn't an opportunity.
Do you not think it's kind of a risky hire for Michigan?
Not really.
No.
I mean,
you guys have that much faith
risky
in Matt Rhule, like what he did with Temple and what he did with Baylor. Like you're just gonna, and then he comes off of he's gonna run in the middle of the night from a challenge in the NFL, and he's gonna come to a program, and what is he gonna go out there? What if he wins 9 games next year? You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna be so much pressure on him to perform right away in that type of job. I don't think if I was Michigan, I think it's a bad hire.
It's not confidence in him being a good coach. It's one of the things that we've been saying this whole year. There is a real difference between coaching professional football and coaching college football. If he was able to turn around programs like Temple and Baylor, then he, by all means, should be able to turn around Michigan when you have the brand of a blue blood college franchise, and he has the ability to go and recruit just about any player in the country that he wants.
No, you giving this man way too much credit.
It's Michigan. I told this to my brother.
Yeah, they're good. They're a great school and this and that. But like, I don't think Matt Rhule got the draw that you guys are giving him.
What I'm saying, listen, I told my brother the same thing. He's a diehard LSU fan. He didn't like Brian Kelly going to be the new head coach of LSU, and I told him, I'm like, listen. The only thing you have to worry about is LSU is your brand. Any recruit that you go to, you say, hey, come to LSU. We're in the SEC. Look at our facilities. Look at what we are able to provide you. Matt Rhule would be able to do the same thing at Michigan. It's a blue blood program. And again, when you look at how he was able to rebuild smaller schools, I think it's a fair argument to say, and I've said it before, that there are certain coaches that are better coordinators than head coaches, and then there are certain coaches that are better in college than they are in the NFL. And I could easily see that being the reason why they are high on Matt Rhule.
Hold on, I'm waiting through this ad. I gotta show you guys something. I can't believe you guys are so okay with Rhule just going. Oh, here it is. Short.
Why can't you
These
believe
that?
We've done nothing but shit talk him for months.
I just feel like it would be a shame on Michigan for picking that. Like I don't think that's a good selection, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, you got to keep in mind there's been plenty of coaches that were college coaches that failed in the NFL that still went back to be successful in college.
And make sure the volume is muted. That's not yeah, Brian Kelly thinks he's the man, dude. So cringe, huh? So cool. Who doesn't want to play for that guy, right? You're muted, by the way.
It's terrible. Why is he grinding on this dude? like your TikTok video makes these two guys grind. So like, hey, we gotta make this video with y'all looking cool. And by the way, I need you to hump this. It's terrible. He's grinding. He's like in the club grinding on his recruit. Stupid.
Yeah. And by the way, he also
TikTok
he was my ice up pick one night. He's also doing like country accents and shit. And he's like from New Jersey or something.
Yeah. Boston. All right, let's what else we gotta talk about? Don't worry, we got a lot of stuff to talk about still tonight. We've got more to talk about the hires. I'm telling you this, I think Matt Rhule learned something, collars. I think he learned that he tried to do too much new too quickly. Go back and listen to the show. I don't like to be like I'm a told it so person, but what I did one night is we went through. Do you remember the night I pulled up all of the people's resumes that were the coaching staff? It was like week 12, like around the Joe Brady getting fired part. And I said, look, let's look at all these assistant coaches and see how much experience these people have. I argued that the problem wasn't just inexperience from Matt Rhule, but like a collective inexperience. And not that bringing new talent in is a bad thing, but bringing everybody new in. Like, it's like if you, this company's kind of failing and this and that, and we're going to replace everybody, but we should have kept the one person that knew how to work the QuickBooks program. Like, that would have helped if we kept that person. Yeah. He brought in so many new, there wasn't any experience at an NFL level at all. Look at the whole staff. And now he's hired a bunch of guys with a ton of experience. Excited about Chris Tabor. I think this new hire, help me out again, James Campen. I'm going to call him Camden. Campen is a good one. A lot of NFL experience. And even though we want to shit on Ben McAdoo for looking like Gordon Bombay in Mighty Ducks 2 when he bought his own loafer and bought into it, Ben McAdoo has had some success at offensive coordinator. So we want to hear, has Matt Rhule learned his lesson? The number is 252-228-5098. Cody, are there any other stories that I've missed as I pull up this file, which I thought I had pulled up?
Not necessarily pertaining to the Panthers. There's definitely some big news stories we have not gotten to, but not
let's
pertaining
save
to
that.
the
All right, let's have one call. Hold on. What is today's date? 2/1/21/21. Where's this? Goddamn file. Come on, help me out. No, I have to export it. I have to export it. No, I gotta give the intro, bro.
Call.
Now you're distracting me. Stop. Talk.
Oh yeah, it's my fault. Did you want me to distract you? Do you want me to talk or not?
You're distracting me.
Greg brought a puppy. Who's more distracting, me or him? Look at that little guy.
Here's the new one.
You guys can do better than that.
What's his name?
I hate you.
Lucy.
Oh, Lucy.
Yeah.
Where'd you get this dog?
We just adopted her 3 days ago. So she's a little feist.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So, how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use
one? Hey guys, it's Joey, and y'all were talking about the Pro Bowl, right? And how, it's a popularity contest. But the Pro Bowl is actually, it's weird because it matters, but it doesn't matter. The Pro Bowl matters because it's something for players to hang their hat on. It makes players want to play their best so they can make the Pro Bowl. And it makes fans feel good. Oh, we have 8 Pro Bowlers on our team. your team only has 3 or whatever, which is probably something we tell the Falcons fans. So, in one way, the game itself is bullshit. It doesn't matter. I mean, we all know that it's kind of like a preseason game in the fact that it's like vanilla and all that stuff because, well, a lot of these guys are on like playoff teams or whatever, and like, if they get hurt playing the Pro Bowl, which is basically a popularity contest, then like it hurts their actual performance. But the Pro Bowl is important because A, every player wants to be in it, and B, every fan of every team wants literally the max number of Pro Bowlers. Anyway, guys. Wow.
My man knows how to get to the end of a call with the round. I'll tell you this is, I agree with you. Is the Pro Bowl means something except for when we vote for people like Stephon Gilmore to make it.
But
I know, like you want to flex your fanhood on it and say, "Oh, we should vote for the people." Yeah, I'm gonna vote for him, but this and that. I guess I'm gonna vote for a lot of other people. He shouldn't have made it.
The only reason
he probably got a bonus. I bet you this. Everybody got a contract bonus up in there.
I was gonna say that's the reason.
So, like, I cheer for him for that. Like, I'm glad he got that money.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the reason them cats really want to make a Pro Bowl. But if we're giving it out to people like this and that kind of sucks.
Well, there's 2 reasons. It's for the bonus, and it's because if you think that you're going to make the Hall of Fame, there's no way you're doing it without multiple Pro Bowls.
Right. Well, true.
Those are the only 2 reasons that a player wants to make the Pro Bowl. Nothing. They give 20% at those games. They don't care.
Then we need to change the way the voting is.
Yeah.
Seems like you guys said, popularity contest.
It is also like, I mean, we're talking.
It almost is a familiarity contest, not a popularity. It's just like, what names do we know?
Well, but then, you have guys like Justin Herbert who goes this year, who was very deserving. And no, you're right, because look, who wasn't nominated to go to the Pro Bowl this year? Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got looked over. Yeah, he didn't get a Pro Bowl.
So he didn't.
Let's be fair about it. Let's be fair about it. Look at who's in the AFC. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the Josh Allens. It's the Justin Herbert. I mean, the AFC is stacked with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's a really tough thing to get
but damn.
I think the gripe that most people had was Lamar Jackson got into the Pro Bowl over Joe Burrow. And if you compare what they've done this year, Joe Burrow was by far the better quarterback this year. And by the way, I'm not even saying Lamar.
You're right.
I'm not saying Lamar. I'm not saying Lamar isn't deserving. I'm saying you're not going to tell me that Joe fucking Burrow, the guy going to the Super Bowl right now, isn't deserving to be a Pro Bowl player.
Would you be saying that?
That's what we were talking about earlier. I feel like we're having the same conversation. Now I'm on the other side, and I am a supporter of you.
Yeah, what'd you ask me, Greg?
Would you be saying that if he wasn't going to Super Bowl, if he'd lost in the AC Championship?
You
still feel So it was an overall performance. It's not an in the moment thing.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he did behind that offensive line and all the numbers that you put up this year. That guy is a Pro Bowler. And we're also Tom Brady retired today too, and part of that legacy is you look at how many Pro Bowls that guy was voted to. It's like if you're a football player at the end of your career, the more Pro Bowls that you have on your list, dude, that's
you gotta have a lot. Yeah, man, it does help, but it does.
Helps the Hall of Fame.
It depreciates the value to me. Like, I'm starting to wonder, if I go back and I look at these people and then they got 7 Pro Bowls in a row, did they really deserve it, or just we just know their name? I mean, so this is like, yes, you have to have that, but that also sucks because dude played less than a whole like a half a season. It feels like he played a half a season. Had 2 picks, which were great, but like I'm sure there's got to be other corners out there that had more, for a long term of the season, more productive. But who knows?
Yeah.
252-228-5098.
Hey, this is Cameron from Charleston.
What's up?
I've been seeing a lot of like mock drafts lately, having us taking, a quarterback with our first pick in the draft, and I'm just like, why? Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis, to me, they're second-round quarterbacks. Like they said, I hear a lot of people say, like last year, they would have been second round. So why would we take a top 10 with them? If you want to trade back and get them, that's fine. Trade back in the first round, get a second round, use it on them. Cool. But on the first round, no, absolutely not. I'm sorry. We all saw Patrick Mahomes, and fucking Josh Allen ball out in the playoffs. So we're all quarterback thirsty. Y'all just give me a fucking quarterback. No. Don't be desperate. Don't take the fucking first quarterback that comes your way. Just like you won't take the first woman that comes your way. Do your due diligence. If you like him, love him, think he can be a Joe Burrow, then take him. But I don't see Joe Burrow in these dudes. I don't see Patrick Mahomes. But, I could be wrong. What do I know? Thanks. Peace.
So I am dying to get into my quarterback evaluations and on our YouTube page and on this podcast. I want to dive into some film of Kenny Pickett and of Malik Willis. And that's why I said earlier, you have to judge every class on its own. And I mean, if I'm just being honest with you, if you look at the physical tools and the skill sets of a Kenny Pickett and a Malik Willis, if I'm being honest, I like them both more than I did Matt Jones last year. Because I think you can make the argument that Matt Jones, you are looking at what kind of player Matt Jones is right now. That is, maybe
that's
he might
ceiling.
get a little bit better. Yeah, that's his ceiling. What are the chances that Matt Jones is ever going to be able to turn it around and do the kinds of things that Josh Allen is doing? That's not very likely. Whereas you can look at Kenny Pickett, you can look at Malik Willis, you see the agility, you see the arm talent, and there's something there. So I disagree, Kevin. I don't think that they are second-round picks. They're definitely first-round players. But, again, we're just going to have to judge whether or not they're worth it at 6. And do we want to trade back to try and draft a quarterback? And if that quarterback would still be there. Now, that's not even saying we have to go quarterback. I still think there's a bunch of good options available to us. But, man, they can definitely make some big-time throws, and they can do all the things you want a young quarterback to do. So I'm not in favor of it yet, but I'm also not against it either.
The Falcons are going to be looking for a quarterback next year, I think, too, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we might be facing one of those guys.
That's problematic. That is a great point, Greg.
Maybe even the Bucks. The Bucks. Well, I mean, they may not trade. They don't have a draft.
Well, they're behind us. Don't worry. We don't got to worry about them.
No,
the
don't
Falcons.
say that.
What's the
Tony,
where are the Falcons at in the draft?
They're not far behind us.
You know better than to say the Bucks are going to be out of this. Let's look at the Bucks right now.
God. They're out of it. Look, then they can trade with us. They can trade with us their pick.
I'm not saying they're drafting a quarterback
race is what we're talking about.
I'm not saying they're drafting a quarterback.
Out of the quarterback drafting race.
I am telling you, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to get either Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, all right, I agree with that. What I'm saying is we don't got to worry about them.
We're not Minnesota, Denver.
Jumping our draft.
Aaron Rodgers. That I would have agreed with that had Tom Brady not retired.
The Falcons are at 8. Sorry. Had Tom Brady not retired,
so we're fine. So we're fine. We're ahead of them. All right. So here's the thing: I got strong opinions on this. I hate all this speculation.
Right.
Like it's exhausting. We're gonna be exhausted by the end of all of this. But I tried to make an argument several weeks ago about how Matt Rhule could potentially find a pathway to keeping his job. And I thought that pathway has to be with securing a quarterback for the fan base. It might not even work out. It might not be the best decision. Who knows? But, I just don't feel like you're going to be able to draft a left tackle or do whatever you can without getting a quarterback in free agency or the draft and Matt Rhule have his job after next year.
Right.
It doesn't matter even if it was the right move. They're the best left tackle and this and that. It's just only going to incrementally change the excitement base and about the team. So I do think that quarterback is really in the picture as drafting in the first round.
I agree.
I've been saying that this is a legitimate pathway. I also agree 100 with, I think we can diminish, like I've been asking that question, Cody, for a minute, is who's better against Mac Jones, Pickett, or Willis? You know, like, are these guys less than? Because everybody said last year's quarterback class was fucking the best one we've ever seen in the history of the world. In the year, you know, but what I'm saying is that yes, that class may have been one of the best of the class, but that doesn't mean that the best quarterback from this class
can't live up to that
year
height,
is
right?
Not the third best in that one or the fourth best ahead of Mac Jones.
Well, are they better than Trey Lance or Fields? Is the question? Because we could have got either one of them last year.
Even if they're not better, even if they're comparable,
okay,
or in the like ahead, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if those guys would have went top 4 last year, and Pickett's in this one, and Mac Jones is who you're picking the first is the question. Who you pick it in first? The last point I want to make about this is I get a slightly, I won't say irritated, but people who say, look, I like Pickett or I like this guy, but I don't like him at 6. I like him at 11. Or I like, right? So if what if you say this is like, is really getting one extra pick and Pickett working out better than Pickett not working out? Or is Pickett getting Pickett in the second or Malik Worker? Like, is like, if Malik Willis is the guy you think he is, honestly, you should pick him you could pick him at 6 and he becomes that guy,
right?
And it's worth that pick. So I don't like this. Oh, I like him. Like, it's like, I don't want that car because I don't want to pay an extra $200. So I'm going to get this other car over here that I like less.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we're going to be doing that.
Does that make sense? Am I making crazy talk? Is it crazy?
No,
you're
not. You're not.
Okay.
I mean, like, if, you know, one of the things that
just pick them
kind of gets lost is that if you consider that we might not be as many pieces away on the offensive line as people are making us out to be, then you take a quarterback, you try and get one good free agent and, you know, in this free agency round, sign some of your key guys and just stay put. Just stay put where you are and draft the player that you like. And it is a good point that was already made. The Atlanta Falcons are picking number 8. So if you have a guy that you identify as a franchise quarterback in this draft, don't get cute. Don't let him go to the division rival.
The Washington football team's picking at 11, I think.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that if you really think Pickett is, or name the name, I don't care who the name is. If you think they're going to change your franchise and they're a second round pick and it's a quarterback, a second round pick that's going to change your franchise is really worth a first.
True.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
at the end of the day, you're like, oh, well, I wish I wouldn't have paid this much for it, but it's the best thing I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like, if you don't like them at 6, but you like them at 13, then we shouldn't be picking them at all. That's what I would say.
I agree.
Is that personally, when it comes to a quarterback, if you're like, oh, I pick them at 13, but I wouldn't pick them at 8, then I don't want that mug. I want somebody that I want to be like, I'll trade up for that dude.
Right.
A person in the chat just asked a good question about, is it a good time to trade CMC? And that actually makes me wonder, what if, just putting it out there, they traded CMC for a serviceable offensive lineman and a draft pick, maybe like a second round draft pick? Would y'all think that would be good? And that would make me feel comfortable about a quarterback, even though I would hate to say bye to CMC. That'd give me a little more confidence about picking a quarterback.
Honestly, the way that Christensen played at the end, I'm not as overwhelmed by our offensive line as I was, especially given that I think with the Saints' troubles and the fact that Sean Payton's not there any longer, I could see them, there being some offensive tackles on the market that we could go after as well. So I'm not like, I wouldn't be as upset. I know I was so hard nosed about
you gotta
quarterback.
keep Christian, baby.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so too, man. It's like at this point, you might as well just run it with Christian. It's like if we're going to have, we know that the quarterback position is in flux. Either we're going to have a rookie quarterback or we're going to bring someone in. It's like, well, damn, you might as well hope that Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy and just let him play.
Yeah,
It adds to your
Sam
current
because we didn't
offensive
have
arsenal.
Christian. Exactly.
Yeah.
Give these dudes the weapons they need. Christian McCaffrey helps, and trading him away doesn't add immediate value. It just won't. You know what I'm saying?
It could. What if you trade him away for
a
franchise left tackle for the next 10 years?
But you're not. All right, who's going to be? Nobody's going to trade.
I'm not saying you trade for a franchise. I'm saying what if you trade
pick?
I'm saying
by the time it pans out, your quarterback's dead.
No, what I'm saying is, what if you trade and you get a draft pick that you get that franchise left tackle? Is what I'm saying.
Right, but your quarterback is dead by the time he really becomes the franchise left quarterback. I think Christian McCaffrey keeps your rookie quarterback safer from day one than a rookie left tackle does. You know, because you're not, and what I mean by that is you're right. It's kind of the Bengals argument. Look at what they did. It's like, yeah, he got sacked 9 times, but this dude also had a receiver that blanked everybody. Having Christian McCaffrey would take a lot of pressure off a rookie quarterback for a full season. And you're just not going to get a lot of value out of Christian McCaffrey. Like if you trade Christian McCaffrey, like, yeah, you could say, oh, we're going to get a future left tackle maybe, but you're not getting a top 10 pick for him.
True.
No. Yeah.
And you're not really saving a lot of money either. That's the problem. The money is sunk. We might as well just live out the life of this loan right here and try to dog him out. And I think that we're getting overly shook by the injury narrative by Christian McCaffrey. I think we're overly shook by it. I think Christian McCaffrey, soft tissue injuries. He hasn't had a lot of like major surgical shit that's going to fuck him up for the long run. I think he comes back next year. We put a good line together. We give him some offense. This mug can be. He's trying to get another contract. He ain't trying to quit. You think this guy's trying to quit and retire? No. I don't think. I think we've overblown the injury narrative.
I just had it. There was this. Here it is. By Trap. Put Brady at left tackle, Deontay at guard, quarterback in the first, center and guard in depth with the 4th rounder on. Target someone like Alex Lindstrom from Boston College. The Senior Bowl is going on right now. There's a lot of really good offensive linemen currently participating in that. The Panthers don't have to be as far away as maybe even we have made ourselves out to be. Even earlier.
Yeah,
it
feels
earlier.
Like we have a mountain to climb, but maybe the mountain isn't as far. You're right. One other question for you, and don't answer it. To think on it question. If this team can't get the primo name that you want, and they're hesitant, which we've seen them at that 6-8 range to pick a quarterback, and say Matt Rhule gets worried about the dude's measurables, is it Derek Carr? The Raiders Carr. I always confuse him with his brother. The Carr isn't this. Is like, to me, I feel like that is a mold that would, like the typical player that Matt Rhule would like. He's like the Matt Stafford. You know, I mean, he's kind of a Matt Stafford-ish type of prospect, like a name, a veteran, success. I actually like him, though. I think he's done a lot of good things. So think on that. It's like, it's not the worst name I've heard. The number is 252-228-5098.
Hey, guys, it's Abby. I called in a couple episodes ago and forgot to leave my name. So I'm sorry about that. I'm calling to talk about a receiving core and a running core because I think a lot of emphasis is being placed on the QB and the O-line as it should be. But there's also some serious issues on the rest of our offense that I think need to be addressed. At this point, I feel like we've kind of talked the whole line and QB situation to death. And it's like, obviously, our QBs are running through their progressions too slowly. They've got poor vision on the field. They've got difficulty escaping pressure, and they can't make accurate throws, especially down the field. There's also some troubling things with our ball carriers. So if you take a look at the film, a lot of the time you'll see that even when there's time in the pocket or when the QB is scrambling, receivers are not open and they're not, trying to come back to the QB to get open, and they're just not getting open quickly enough. So there's also an issue of them not making blocks when they need to. Like, we know DJ isn't too good at blocking. Robbie's okay and getting better. But I saw film the other day where DJ was running a drag route and Amir just completely failed to block his man. And so DJ got walloped in the backfield. And I think that's part of the issue that Cam was describing when he said that not everyone's doing their job and not everyone's buying in. And plus, we know we also have a problem with drops. So I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's a talent thing or a culture thing, like not being willing to fight to the end of the play to get open or to come back to your QB when he's scrambling, not being willing to put your body on the line to make the block. Like, I don't know what the issue is, but I was hoping to hear your thoughts on that. So, thanks for everything you guys do and keep pounding.
Fantastic call, Abby. And I love everything that she said, because to me, Abby, yes, it is coaching. To me, it's systemic. I think we have too much talent, even on our wide receiver core, for opposing defensive backs to be running the routes for them. And, we were saying that earlier in the year, too. I think that's why a lot of people were calling for Joe Brady's head, and they were kind of happy when Joe Brady got the axe. But there's a lack of toughness on our offensive line and at our receiver positions. And when you hear Matt Rhule talk about the system and, everything's working and everybody just has to believe in the system that he's implementing. Well, it's supposed to be tough, hard-nosed football. And it seems to be everything but tough, hard-nosed football. And again, I hate to jump around here, but this is also one of the criticisms that I've had with DJ Moore in his time being here. It's part of the reason why I don't believe DJ Moore is a true shutdown number one wide receiver in the NFL. But hold on before you interrupt me, because when you watch true badass number one wide receivers in the NFL, they run their routes with aggression, with anger, and they can cut on a dime. Especially when the teams are down, you don't see that kind of wherewithal from Panthers receivers. Abby even made the point. They're not running back to the football on scramble plays when Sam Darnold would have to scramble out of the pocket, which was almost
every
all the
play
time.
is a scramble play.
There is
every play is a scramble
There's
play.
not a lot of complimentary football. And to me, that goes down to the identity of this football team. And Matt Rhule is not doing a good job at getting everyone on the same page. There is a lack of understanding of what they're supposed to be doing. And, to me, that's from the top down. Maybe McAdoo changes this year with some better route trees for our receivers on some different plays. I don't know. I can only hope. But, yeah, that was a fantastic call, Abby. I agree with everything that you said. Very poignant.
Bro, you first are hypercritical of DJ Moore.
No, I'm not.
Hypercritical. It's like so hyperbolic amount. Like, he's either gotta be the greatest receiver in the world, or we shouldn't even be talking about him.
He's soft. He's talented.
Look, is that a lot of all these comments are right. There's so many good points or observations, right? Not trying to knock on the observations, but I'm gonna give this on at least when it comes to DJ Moore. I don't think we can get this same. I think the criticism and angst are probably gonna be a little bit at Robbie a little bit more this year.
Yeah,
like at least DJ's been productive the whole time. You got a long season where DJ's been putting his life and body on the line. This poor guy been getting lit the fuck up his whole career, going and making catches across the middle. You go back and this is that one of the biggest criticisms of the Teddy Bridgewater season was like people we were calling up and they were like, man, he almost got his ACL torn. I've seen DJ Moore get his ass blown the fuck up over and over and over, making catches or going after the ball or trying to do extra. So I do, and I have seen him go down early before. I've seen him go to the ground early too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I've seen that, but I'm trying to feel like this is that if you ask somebody to play hard on every single damn play of the season, Like, and they're out there doing this, and Sam, like, I mean, he's exhausted probably at some points. I don't know if it's a dog thing. Is this like, I gotta survive to the end of this game, homie? And you guys threw me out there and did this. It's just hard for me to be like, oh, he's the running the lazy this, he's doing this, and then like John Miller just lets the guy run past him without even touching him. So,
no
like, I mean, yes, is that like, yes, are there plays where he could be sharper? Could he be more tenacious? I'm sure there are. But Jesus Christ, he's the most tenacious mug on our team.
Fine, he can be all of those things and still not be a true shutdown number one wide receiver. Right. However, how many times have you seen DJ Moore put an opposing DB in a blender? I'm talking just dice him up with his route running. But all of DJ Moore's biggest plays are over the top and across the middle where he can get yards after catch. That's the kind of player that he is.
Nah, they're actually not across the middle. They're like on the 3. They're like a 3-yard route that he then turns into 27.
Yeah,
he's a yards after the catch receiver, which is different from being a route runner. To me, if you're a number one wide receiver, your routes are surgical. And to me, DJ just isn't that. I'm not saying he's bad.
He's the best we have. I mean, there's not 32 number one receivers in the NFL, and there's 32 teams. So, I mean, not everybody. There's probably 7 or 8 elite guys that you could put in that category. He may not be the best one out there, but I mean, he's still a pretty decent wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I'm not saying he's not. Look, what I'm just saying is that like, how can you be a precise route runner when you're the guy they go to out of 10 times, nobody else is doing anything. You're leaving me out to dry. I'm getting blasted, and then you're coming back to me like nothing's going right. Like, yeah, it's like I'd love to run better routes, but y'all bitches ain't doing shit either.
Yeah,
you know, like I mean, like these guys put like it's like how is he gonna work on his routes when they're throwing the ball over the play? I'm like, God, team. I'm just saying this is if that's not the name that comes to mind when it comes to the team not performing. That's it. There's a lot of DJ slander in this world. I don't get it.
Yeah, so like I was saying, man, it's Corey calling in the second part of my call, but I was saying that
I'm going to skip this first part of the
call.
Hey,
what's going on, fellas? This is Corey calling in.
Corey.
Friday, I'm just getting off work, so I don't know if this is going to get on the Friday free-for-all show or what, but I just kind of wanted to talk about this topic that's kind of been brewing on Panthers Twitter recently. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Well, it's pretty much been all season, but it's something that's just been brewing recently, and I wanted to get my thoughts on it. It's just that a lot of people have been saying that J.C. Horn wasn't the right pick at 8 this year. Obviously, we've heard the conversation. I think even Cody is in that camp too, that no matter how good J.C. Horn is, we should have picked like Rashawn Slater or Justin Fields, which I understand. But I would say, I'm going to say it like this. Drafting Justin Fields or Mac Jones or whoever at 8 would have been a terrible, terrible, terrible use of our resources. Like, you have to remember, this was less than a month after we just traded a second-round pick for Sam Darnold. Now, regardless of what you may have thought about Sam Darnold going into this past year, whether you thought he could have potentially been something, whether you thought it was a terrible trade, the Panthers made the trade. They put the resources in, they made the trade, and they traded for him. And it would have been just dumb to then spend a top 10 pick on a quarterback after you trade for a guy who's 24 years old, who you have presented to us as the next guy. It's like you're already saying to us that you don't believe that Sam Darnold is the future, even though you just traded a second-round pick for him and exercised the fifth-year option. So I didn't want to see a draft a quarterback in the top 10 period. I don't care if it was, whoever. It just wouldn't have been smart, because then we pretty much just wasted our second round pick at that point, because then it's just Justin Fields or whoever knocked on the door eventually. So I'll say that as point one. Point two, I think the biggest thing that people are forgetting when it comes to JC is, or not even just a pick, people forget how bad our DBs were coming into last season. Like, our pass defense was fucking horrendous. Going into the season, our corners were Dante Jackson, who was coming off an injury, and as we all know, he's a very talented guy, but he's never been able to put it all together. He's very, very streaky. You can't really count him as a number one. AJ Bouye, who was a former Pro Bowler, but that shit feels like forever ago, and who was also injured in the off season, and then a whole bunch of fucking scrubs. I think I'm about to run out of time. I got to get a part 2 on this call.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic call. That's been a very hot button conversation, I feel like, for over a year now.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of our answers are kind of similar. Like JC Horn, if you go back to my film breakdown of JC Horn on this channel before the Panthers ever drafted him, I flat out said JC Horn is my number 1 corner in this draft. I like him better than Patrick Surtain. I like him better than Caleb Farley. I thought he was the dude. And I think that the Panthers defense is going to be grateful to have him for years to come. With that said, I don't think when anyone makes a critique of JC Horn, it's not that he, the player, isn't worth it. I'm sure he'll be a very good football player, and we all are hoping that he is. But imagine this, imagine if we could have been on year 2 with Justin Fields. He's already gotten some NFL play under his belt. Now you go heavy O-line. Now you continue to build around that quarterback, and you start that process. Last year, the Bengals were 4-12. We already mentioned this, and they're in the Super Bowl this year. There is no reason why the Panthers couldn't have followed at least a similar trajectory. And I even mentioned earlier when I was reading about what Fitterer was talking about when it comes to position value, when you're picking in the top 10, you cannot treat every position equally. Just like Tony doesn't want to touch tight ends with a top 10 pick, there are certain positions that you have to value highly for how they affect the game of football. Right. And yeah, corner is one of those, but at a time when your offense is so bad, you haven't had a franchise left tackle since 2013, and you passed on Rashawn Slater. Last year was a great draft for quarterbacks. One of the better ones fell to you in the draft, and you didn't take them. And that's just, that's a recipe for, continuous seasons of the Panthers underachieving. So maybe if we draft a quarterback this year, it'll prove to be worth it. But overall, the position value, it just makes it that those other guys would inevitably be more important to, at least I think, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you're kind of touching on what J Stubbs was saying in the chat. The caller says that the DBs were so terrible, and you're right, it was. But our O-line's been terrible for years. So,
true.
It wouldn't make just as much sense to address that.
Yeah. Like that. The O-line has been worse than the DBs for years.
Right.
Next call.
Yeah, so like I was saying, man, it's Corey calling in the second part of my call, but I was saying that people, they like to forget because we in the middle of last season, we got Stephon Gilmore, we got CJ Henderson, Dante Jackson started off the year playing very well. AJ Bouye looked like he was solid. So by the end of the year, it looked like cornerback was just fucked. The cornerback room is stuck, right?
Covered.
We got to remember how fucking bad, how absolutely terrible our pass defense was the year before. And pretty much how we were going in the next year with those corners, it just wasn't going to work, right? So, point number 1 on that. And then the biggest point that I have, honestly, is that I'm not mad. The biggest issue that the Panthers did wasn't drafting J.C. Horn over Rashawn Slater. It was the fact that we didn't use any other more valuable resources on the offensive line. It's like, okay, cool. If you see this freak athlete, high ceiling, high floor guy at corner, you feel like can be this just shut down ball hawking guy for the next 10 years for your team. Cool, go ahead and pick him up. But you know that offensive line is a huge need for us. So it's like, boom. If we had drafted a tackle or guard in the second round, and then use some real.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop that call right there. Just to kind of push the calls around, but I agree. It does. look, I don't think actually Cody was celebrating the JC Horn pick as a dog and a good pick. And I do think we can fall too much into like just because JC Horn was hurt this year that it wasn't the best pick. I don't think though that's really where we're coming from when we talk about what Matt Rhule has been critical about or what his problems are. We've been, I think, like you said, it's not just that pick, it's the other things that have surrounded that. The free agency moves, the other draft picks, and then the salt in the wound that Matt Rhule continues to throw in when he talks about Rashawn Slater as a guard and he was the best tackle in the league. And it's not even that, like, fine, that's what you saw him as. You were wrong. Just shut up. Be quiet. At some point, you got to do something about the offensive line. And so you're right. JC Horn could be a top 10 dog-ass player and the other guys can't. But you didn't do enough in other spots. And once again, great call there, too, because Terrence Marshall Jr. in the second, right? You're not allocating the assets or the capital investment to places you need to early enough. Let's go to the next call. Oh, is it a butt dial call? Ooh.
Sounds like
it's Larry. It's Priest Larry. What was that? What's the Priest Larry or Larry?
Pastor Larry or something?
Pastor Larry. The bomber. Why do I still want to know? Like, I need. Never mind. It's like I need to know like why this is even important to people. 252-228-5098.
So you're telling me this. Please, here, before we get into the rest of the calls, because like I said, you're dealing with me and you got to deal with me, right? Because I've been running this podcast forever. So you got to hang out with me even when I drank too much.
Is this me? That's my own voice. Look, that's me.
Did you drunk
How did I call the own? Look, somebody recorded me. Oh, what did I say?
So you're telling me this. Please, here, before we get into the rest of the calls, because like I said, you're dealing with me and you got to deal with me, right? Because I've been running this podcast forever. So you got to hang out with me even when I drank too much. But you're trying to.
See this? This is my podcast now.
Oh my God. God, that call right there. I feel like I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about that. That's call.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. Call of the night.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Night.
Love it.
It's my podcast now.
God, he did take over this podcast.
Oh, that was
like
awesome.
What? Oh. 252-228-5098. Please sober up, Tony. Next call.
Hey guys, Chuck from
Thanks,
Elizabeth
Chuck.
City.
Nice, Chuck.
AKA Carolina Sports Guy.
What up, Chuck?
I just kind of, I don't even know if I've talked to you guys about it before, maybe you have, but with everything that's going on with Brady finally retiring, I don't think Bruce Arians is any better of a coach than what Rivera was. He just inherited a good team. The Tampa's defense is still good, but with so many pieces that they had, and with Antonio Brown doing his version of Forrest Gump running off the field, it kind of blew their Super Bowl chance. But the whole thing is with Tampa losing probably a lot of pieces off of this team, everybody wants to get paid, and without the quarterback, they're going to take a step back. And New Orleans without Sean Payton still has a good defense. But they're definitely in need of some offensive possessions. They're in salary cap hell. They're going to take a step back. Atlanta's kind of even keel, although Matt Ryan's getting older. And you'd think this would be the time that we step up and we can actually take advantage of everybody else stepping back. The only problem is we're in a quagmire. Stuck with a quarterback we really don't want. Don't look like where we're drafting there's going to be a quarterback who would be a Joe Burrow or
Why? Why do you
Hubert
guys
type.
feel that?
And with the way our offensive line is and some of the players we'll be losing, and having Matt Rhule being an inept coach, not like we're really moving forward. It's kind of like we're stuck. We're no better this past year than we were the year before, probably even worse. So as everybody else takes a step back, we're not necessarily taking a step forward. And by the time we take a step forward, these other teams might be taking a step forward ahead of us. It's all about time.
Gosh, if we would have known what we
It
didn't
just seems
know.
we missed our opportunity of being ready when we knew that Breeze, Brady gone, it was time for us to shine. And we just really blundered and dropped the ball on what we should have been doing. So I guess the only thing we can do is look at a team like Cincinnati, who was dreadful for so long, and they've just kind of gone out in a short period of time because they got lucky. You got the number 1 pick, got Burrow, made some really good picks along the way, and have a young team. They've actually become one of the youngest exciting teams in the league. And somehow, maybe in the next couple of years, maybe that'll happen to us, but it doesn't happen to everybody. So, I don't know. I mean, as Panther fans, we just have to suffer and get through it and do the best we can. And
Tony, I'll tell you why you should have some hope. You keep on saying you don't hear it or you don't see it. Let me tell you why you should have some hope. Because there's no guarantee that you're not a 60 or 70-year-old something man by the next time the Panthers actually get this shit figured out. I mean, you said earlier yourself, look how far the Bengals have come. They have been a dumpster fire organization for 30 years, and they were finally able to turn it around. Like, that's my point. This could go either way for Panther fans. Either we're going to get this right, and we're actually going to get a good football team, or we could potentially find ourselves in the same situation that a bunch of other teams have found themselves in, where every 3 or 4 years they're hiring and firing head coaches, trying to do another rebuild year after year, sometimes decade after decade. And it's like,
so we're 2 years away from success and 2 years away from habitual rebuild.
My only point is that when you see a team that is valued so poorly as the Bengals, remember there was controversy as to whether or not Joe Burrow would step the Bengals and say, no, I'm not going to Cincinnati. Yeah. But in the end, he did, and it changed their fortunes. And look what's happening to him now. So, yeah, man, if a team like the Bengals could get it right, there's no reason why the Panthers couldn't figure this shit out.
I feel like it's such recency bias. Like, I mean, it's such a lot. It's just what this means then to me is that at any moment, lightning in a bottle could happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, like we could have done this for why? Like, this could be the Jacksonville Jaguars in next year, according to you. Right? I mean, is that like this is something kind of magical that we are watching with the Bengals. It is the football equivalent to Sweet 16, whatever the seed. What's the seed that like where who is it that kind of goes through all the way through the playoff, the NCAA bracket makes it? It's like a miracle.
Well, they all do, but the 16th seed would be like a
seed.
Yeah,
the
Cinderella team.
I mean, it's kind of like that. Is that at every moment the Bengals have not had the best team. They just haven't had the best team, and I'll fight anybody on that. They haven't had the best team, but they've played like badasses. So it's kind of awesome, but at the same time, can you replicate magic?
That's kind of my issue too. And Cody, when you say that that's your reason for hope, I'd look at that as like a really, 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 really big glass all the way full.
We just buy lotto tickets.
I was gonna say it's like saying because this guy won the lottery,
like,
if I buy a lottery ticket,
got rich, so let's just buy lotto tickets.
That's the exact sample I was going to use. It's like buying lottery. It's exactly what it's like because somebody else won it. I can win it, and yeah, that's true. But it doesn't give me more hope that I'm going to win the lottery if I go buy a lottery ticket right now. You know?
Right. Are we in year 22 of their rebuild, or are we in year 29?
And that's the other thing. They're only in year 2.
How about that one?
They're going into year 3 of the rebuild, as are we. So look at how much better they've done with.
But
their
they're not in year 3. They haven't
are.
won a fucking playoff game in 31 years. So
but they haven't been a terrible team.
Of rebuild.
They went through a complete rebuild. They haven't been a terrible team. They made the playoffs 6 years in a row.
They didn't. Yeah, but they haven't won a playoff game in 30.
But by the way, this is not just the Cincinnati Bengals. But guys, this is also not just the Cincinnati Bengals that we're talking about. Before last year, the Bills hadn't been in the playoffs in what, like 26 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah, but it was one of the long.
No, that's not
Super Bowls in 1999.
No, man. The whole
yes,
point of
like
it
I mean, it
is
is
that
kind
the
of
NFL,
close, but it's not the same.
The NFL has demonstrated that there is a structure to which football teams can fall to the bottom, and in a very short turnaround time, relatively, turn their fortunes around and become one of the better teams in football. There is no reason that the Panthers couldn't follow that same thing as the Chargers, the Bills, and the Bengals. So there's 3 examples for you.
But we're already 3 years into
kind
it.
Of hope for it.
We're already 3 years into it, though, man.
Only 24 more to go.
3 years into
the rebuild. And these teams 3 years into the rebuild have already found success, is what I'm saying. We're 3 years in, and we're falling flat on our faces with no draft capital. And not a lot of draft. I'm saying it's completely.
We're actually in year 1. It feels like.
It feels like, it feels like. But we're in year 3.
Hey, hang on.
The next
before we do.
Come on.
No, before we do.
Oh yeah, shame.
There's something that we have to do, and you know what, Tony? We have a bunch of freaks in the chat room, and I don't care how bad you want to go to bed, old man. You are not going to deny them their right to get shamed by this magical voice motherfucker. Let him know, CK.
In a world where one man has to shame an entire chat room of people because they have not hit a thumbs up, the most simple task any YouTuber podcaster can ask of his followers. We're just asking you simply hit that thumbs up. Tell the world, I like those guys. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 112 people watching, 82 thumbs up. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell for every single time we go live. We're always doing fun things on the channel. We're going to be having quarterback content, looking at these draft quarterbacks here soon. We've got the Friday free for all. We've always got something cooking. Hit that like, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. Tony Dunn, let's hit these calls.
Hey, this is Kevin again from Charleston. I got a question for you. If Matt Rhule goes to Michigan, who becomes our new head coach? Do we keep McAdoo as the head coach, like bring him in? Or do we sign somebody else to come in to be the new
Brian Flores, baby.
I kind of see it.
Oh, God.
McAdoo.
Here we go. Now we got, actually, we got to do it. We're almost 2 hours in. We were supposed to lead the show. I wanted to lead the show with this. Brian Flores sued the NFL today. I think that's when the news broke, at least. Maybe it happened yesterday, technically. Who knows? The NFL might not exist after this. Flores and Kaepernick might stamp on the ashes of the NFL after all this crap. A big story broke today. It's a class action lawsuit. A lawsuit against, I think, the Giants, the Broncos, the Dolphins.
The NFL, the Giants, the Dolphins, the Broncos.
And the NFL?
Yeah, and the NFL just as a whole.
Criticizing the hiring practices of the NFL. The initial question that I had was this: look at this. Just think about this. Imagine what it would take for someone to sue the NFL, and particularly, and maybe blackball themselves into or out of existence. Right. So you think about this: is that you got Colin Kaepernick has tried this out of the NFL, right? Like it's easy. We've got a couple of players that have said that I've been blackballed. Right. But to come out and sue directly the NFL as a head coach, and make allegations of the $100,000 payment for each loss that Steve Ross made. The text, like, I mean, this is I feel like he knows, like, he's either going to win this and make $1 bazillion. I don't know what the end goal of the success would be, but there ain't no just like, oh, you're going to get hired to the NFL and welcome back. Like, this all of a sudden is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And what I think this is that, like, he's ready and, like, he's throwing down the gauntlet, and I'm not upset with him for it.
And let's be real about this too. He is throwing down the gauntlet basically at the expense of his entire career.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there's
what I'm trying
almost
to say. Is,
yeah,
like,
there's almost no way.
Even if he wins, he's not going to come back, and then all of a sudden make them, like, it's going to be like, oh, we paid you $1 bazillion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then another thing.
Too. Yeah.
Well, so it's a class action lawsuit, man. What a weird time, dude. Like, imagine if you're a black head coach, you feel like these things are happening, and then now what? Are you going to add your name to that class action lawsuit? Like this, if Eric Bieniemy is in agreement with this, and he feels like he wants to add his name to this, does he even do it at this point? At the risk of not being able to potentially receive further promotion? I don't know. Brian Flores put out a statement, and he said, I feel like I have a gift for head coaching or for being a coach of football, but he basically said, like, this is required of me to do so right now. Like, this is bigger than me. This is something that I feel like I need to do to weed out some of the systematic racism when it comes to hiring processes in the NFL. It is a fact of the matter also that out of the last 16 coaching changes, only one of those that was hired was the black head coach. That was David Culley, and he was also fired after 1 year on the job. Mike Tomlin is the only African-American head coach in the NFL right now. Like, trying to look at different sides of this. Now, all the parties involved have already come out and say that, of course, they vehemently deny any accusation of racism against them. The Broncos have said this. The Giants have come out and said that we hired Brian Daboll because we felt like he was the best man for the job. It was an 11th hour hire, and that it was down to Brian Flores and Daboll, and it was, apparently last minute. Now, where things get very interesting is a part of the lawsuit included some text messages from none other than the all-time great Bill Belichick himself. And this is actually kind of funny here because Bill Belichick thought that he was texting Brian Daboll and congratulating him on his job being the new Giants head coach. So this Bill Belichick says, sounds like you've landed. Congrats. Did you hear something I didn't? So, by the way, in blue, these are the text messages of Brian Flores. And he said, Giants, Flores goes, I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. Belichick says, got it. I hear from Buffalo and NYG. You're their guy. Hope it works out if you want it to. He says that's definitely what I want. He says that's definitely what I want. I hope you're the right coach. Thank you. And then it goes, Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Daboll? Just making sure. Bill Belichick responds, sorry, I fucked this up. Double checked and I misread the text. I think they are naming Daboll. Sorry about that, Bill Belichick. Now, essentially, what this goes on to imply was that the New York Giants knew from the jump that they were going to hire Brian Daboll, but they had Brian Flores in to appease the Rooney Rule, where you have to interview one African-American head coach as a part of your coaching hire. So, man, this is a crazy story that dropped out of nowhere today. And it's a tough one, man, because if I'm just being very honest with you, I think that whole Colin Kaepernick situation set a precedent where it's going to be pretty effing hard to prove that racism, that, because they were black, that was the reason why they were not hired to be head coaches in the NFL. It doesn't mean that I'm not empathetic with the cause either, because I really do think that Brian Flores is doing a thing that frankly is warranted. The discussion needs to be had, but man, it is going to be hard to prove that racism was the exact reason why these men weren't hired. So I don't know. I'll pass the mic on this one. I don't know pretty much what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to jump in because I think that it's easy for people that are on the outside looking in to say that this is all speculation and that Flores is, just trying to reach or all that stuff. I think that all of this is way too specific. I think everything he said is absolutely true. And the thing that irritates me more than anything is the whole point with the Rooney Rule is to be able to give candidates to, diverse coaches, right? It's supposed to give them opportunities rather. To these candidates. And what ends up happening is similar to what happened, with plenty of other coaching positions, which is we just have our token interview so that's all they do. So what they've done here is the New York Giants are saying, well, we know who we want to hire, but we're going to interview Flores to be able to just check mark, right? You haven't even talked to the guy and you're saying this other dude is going to be your coach. That tells me you have chosen because of what's going on. And also, let's talk about how much these conversations are happening between teams and tell me collusion isn't real, right? Let's talk about the fact that he said, I'm hearing from the New England Patriots are hearing from New York Giants and Buffalo that another guy is going to be a coach. And he's like, tell me that there isn't collusion.
Well, at least, all right, keep going. Great, keep going.
Well, I just want to ask, and I'm not saying by any means this stuff doesn't happen because I'm positive that it does. But just out of curiosity, if the Giants
just saw it, dude.
Well, look, here's the thing: if the Giants wanted to hire Daboll from the get-go, that's the guy they wanted. That's not racist for them to want to hire that guy. Then, if they have this rule, they have to interview somebody else, but they've already got the guy they want. What are they supposed to do?
Why make a decision without interviewing all the possible candidates?
First of all,
what if they've already decided? I mean, you don't have to interview everybody out there. You don't have to do that.
When has that ever been a positive experience for if you have 15
that's their
candidates?
Decision. They can mess up if they want to. That's their decision.
That's kind of aligns with what Cody was saying is the difficulty of proving racism.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying.
It may be racist, but here's the thing: at the end of the day. And I'm not trying to diminish racism. I'm not trying to diminish the existence of these realities. At the end of the day, this is a terrible HR process.
It is, yeah.
That's what I would say is leaks. How about that? Is right away is you got a hiring panel that has a specific requirements for hiring someone. Right. I've been on hiring committees before.
Right.
And there are rules, right? Like you have to ask the people the same questions. I mean, I'm sure you could break the rules if you wanted to, but they're you're supposed to do it this way. You ask them the same questions. You have to fill out the same forms for each person. You have the same amount of time for each candidate. You have the same conversation after each candidate. And your personal biases probably come in a ton in the process where you rate that. But at the end of the day, this is just poor HR practices prior to you want to get or lessen, not get rid of racism. I don't mean that, but you want to lessen racism. We just need to we don't just need it. We need to have better hiring practices. The fact is it's not the matter of if they wanted Daboll or not first. Yep. It's don't have these rules in place where you should be interviewing other candidates if you're just going to hire the person you don't think.
But that's
or the one other thing I would say about this is that shame on these teams for being so kind of prisoners of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Where they think, oh, look, shame on that new GM for just hiring Daboll without really giving Flores a chance.
What if they're friends? What if he likes what Daboll does? I'm just saying.
He might. He's
exactly.
You're right. No, it's not racism. It's actually just poor HR.
I don't have to pick on every pair of
shoes. Is shame on the goddamn Jacksonville Jaguars for Flores being out there They should be trying to get that dude.
I agree.
Like, what I'm saying is, like, God, fine, let him. But why about these other teams? Flores, we would love to have him as our
I would
coach.
love to have Flores.
This guy,
Yeah.
I want to put this out here. Is that I think the NFL underestimated what happens when you fuck with someone who's got enough money to get by.
True.
Like Flores has got loot probably. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was just a head coach for 3 years. He got like $4 or $5 million probably in the bank. And he's investing that, I would hope. You know, he's not like me, who I need my job next year and I got to make sure I don't piss the president of the college off or something like this. This guy took a bold ass step. And was like this. All right, I got screwed on this job, and this job. And you douchebags have terrible hiring practices. You picked ridiculous candidates before. Matt Rhule over here got a job. I'm over here winning 8 straight. That fool lost 8 straight. Fuck y'all. I got some money. Put me in this lawsuit. That's some badass shit.
Well,
I won't fuck with Brian Flores. I won't fuck with him. And did Bill Belichick have a senior moment? He just missed the.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Way,
What was it?
One of the greatest football minds in all of football can't get the right Brian in his cell phone.
Look at the alphabet. What is it? It's Flores and what's the other guy's name?
Dayball.
Yeah. Dayball. And you probably can imagine just them being close. Like he just searched Brian.
Well,
and just accidentally pressed the top one.
You know what's even more fucked up though? Is how much it seemed like Belichick preferred the other guy to get that job. Like he's sitting there saying, "I'm hoping you get it." You know, I'm sitting there like this is the guy who was on your squad, like that. You know, you is part of your coaching tree, right? And you're telling him somebody you wish that the other guy got it. Like, I mean, so that already right there is going to be. I think this could be Bill Belichick's retirement. You know, in the future. Like, because I mean, I know he's not doing anything himself, but I think that this, like, leading to the him doing that is going to put a lot more pressure, and he is not going to be very popular among league executives anymore.
So, by the way, this, of course, this is a hot button discussion because it's talking about racism, and is racism the main factor that are presenting highly qualified coaches from coaching on an NFL level too. I think that what's kind of being missed is that there is a pretty big smoking gun to all of one of his accusations. Brian Flores is saying that Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins,
this is big,
this is
giant.
This is ginormous. The owner of the Miami Dolphins offered to pay Flores $100,000 for every loss during the 2019 season to help them get a better draft spot. He was even mad when they kept winning. And dude, if this ends up being proven, one, that is not only is that grounds for him to forcibly sell the Miami Dolphins.
Fuck that. No, you shut your mouth, Cody. You have told us there's ways to institutionally tank.
No, from a front office standpoint. That's not telling your team
paying your coach to lose.
Yeah, not paying them to lose.
That's a front office standpoint.
No. There's
trading away players is a front office standpoint.
Oh my God.
Not paying them to lose. It's just giving yourself less assets to win the football game with. That's not saying, hey, we want you to put yourself in a position to lose football games. And if that happens, he can face criminal charges, though. That's
what kind of criminal charges for what?
Fixing,
for like gambling, fraud,
fixing an outcome. He could 100% do jail time because of that.
Whoa! What if you said this is I'll pay you $1 million to succeed? Isn't that fixing an outcome then?
No, because you can't guarantee. You can pretty much guarantee a loss by having lack of effort. You can't. You're still going to go up against other people's bests.
And everyone's paid to win.
Yeah.
Like everyone is paid their job to win football.
All right. What if you worded it this way? What if you said this is that I'll give you $1.5 million if we get 15 losses that lead to the first round draft pick?
That's still paying to lose. I mean,
It's paying for a goal.
Tell me,
It's
tell
an
me,
institutional goal. That's what it is.
Because that's not going to be.
I
in a
don't like
contract.
this. It's like you want to take away the team for this. I would say, if anything, is that what's the funny part is that people are going to get fucking pissed off that the game may be fixed. But you ain't pissed off that not y'all, but like that there's like institutional racism in America. You don't say, oh, we're so pissed off that like this owner might have fucking tried to lose. But instead, like there is this blackballing going on in the NFL. Dude, if you tell a team to tank, I'm not upset about this. What I'm upset is that y'all are upset about it.
Upset about what?
About the tanking thing. It's like, oh man. Like if you're upset with the Ross guy for trying to pay this dude $100,000 a game, right, to lose, what are you upset about? Are you upset about the integrity of the game? Because I thought the real reason to be upset about this claim is it's like he's a black coach. We're kind of setting him up to fail. I think that's the real thing to be upset about is like, oh wait, we only have like 5 black coaches in the last 10 years, and then you're going to pay the one black coach there is to quit rather than to succeed.
Well, no.
And then you're going to fire him after 2 years of succeeding. That is the problem with me. I'm like, to tell me that he's going to, you want him to sell the team just because he wanted to lose. I would say, you know what? It's because of the other shit you should make him sell the team.
I mean, listen, the fact of the matter is this. An owner of an NFL football team cannot pay people in his organization to lose football games. Then it's like if you were gambling on it, you have one team that's going in there with the coach is trying to lose, and another team going in there with the coach is trying to win. You just can't.
What if you just intentionally hired idiots then?
Well, maybe David Tepper's doing that.
What if a coach said this? You know what? Is I'm gonna fire all y'all fired today, and now I'm gonna hire Tony and Greg. And no offense, Greg, I'm not trying to call you an idiot.
No, you're good.
But like imagine if us are like, all right, well, these guys are gonna take over this team. They're not paying us to lose, but god damn it, you were so worried about the integrity of the game. That's what I feel like this. It's an integrity check.
We don't know that David Tepper's not doing that. How about that? No. Look, my thing is this.
Ooh, very important point. But I think that is true. I think that's why he didn't fire Matt Rhule.
But how long do you do
my
that
thing,
for?
look, my thing is this, right?
I think we're in tanking. We're tanked for 22.
No, if you look at so by the way, another thing that was apparently included in Brian Flores' claims was he went and interviewed with the Denver Broncos, with John Elway and them, and
they got hammered the night before.
Not only were they an hour late, but by the time they showed up to the meeting, dude, they were fucking hammered. They were drunk conducting the interview, and it's like, bro, what? And see, like that's when I think
it's better to not call racism, but just poor HR. Actually, I would say you can call racism. I don't care, but like this is just poor HR practices.
It's poor HR practices, but like
you've hired a candidate before you did all the interviews, and now you got the committee is drunk. Like that's the thing. It's just not. It's like a farce of an interview process. Basically, it's like all real important jobs. You get the job because they already knew who you wanted, like Greg said.
Like, I understand what Greg's saying. Like, if you have a coach that you have in mind, okay, we want Daboll. Look what Brian Daboll did for Josh Allen. That's our guy. That's the guy that we want. I am certain that for many teams, that's what ends up happening. Sometimes they pass on a black coach just because there is a player that they would prefer to have. But also, I can 100% see the flip side of this as well. Like you're telling me out of all of the big time NFL coaches that are black in the NFL, like, including Brian Flores, I mean, look at Adam Gase. Adam Gase was a dumpster fire coach at Miami, and the very next year got hired to be the head coach of the Jets.
Agreed. It's bad HR practices.
And by the
Exactly
way,
what
look,
I'm saying. It's just bad HR.
Another point of what we're talking about right now, Tony, you're like, well, why would anyone trust Matt Rhule to go turn around Michigan? And I think there's a good conversation to be had that it's like, well, if Matt Rhule was a black coach, would he have so many other offers somewhere else? And I don't know, man. Look, you all can look on camera and see that it's 4 white dudes talking about this, right? So it's like we obviously can only talk from one perspective, and we certainly don't claim to speak for any black person anywhere. But when you start to look at all sides of this, when you see how many coaches don't have a job, it's like, well, okay, how many other conclusions are you logically able to come to now?
Sure. I am not disputing those at all. I am not even trying to diminish the racial aspect of the suit.
Right.
Is like imagine though if a black person wasn't involved in this. Imagine if it was all majority people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're all or the same, like it's a 4 women, 5, it doesn't matter. Is that like these are also bad just practices for trying to choose a candidate, period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have fake rules in place and this and that. So yes, is that racism exists, institutional racism exists, but at the same time, like these guys can't even. They had the first. They didn't have interviews. They just hired the guy they knew they were going to hire.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have no interview.
Yeah.
And
I said earlier,
unfortunately,
I am very sympathetic. Not sympathetic. Actually, sympathetic makes like sorrow, and I can't empathize because my point just being is this: is let's not like act like this is a contest, and then we already know who the winner is.
Yeah,
and like I said, I agree. I'm sure it exists out there, and there are probably practices that go on that are terrible, but I don't know the details of the situation, but I know that if I have something that I want, me picking it, like if I go pick out a pair of shoes, I don't have to try on every pair of shoes to know what I want. If I know what I want, I'm going to go get this pair of shoes. Now, maybe I'm making the wrong decision by not trying on a few of the pairs, but I've done it before where I've just gone and seen another pair of shoes I wanted and gotten it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened here or anything, because I don't know the inside details about what's going on. I'm just saying it's not always that case, and we don't know. But I hope that if that's what's happening, that it's taken care of, and I hope that it doesn't happen anymore.
What I will say, and I'm going to finish this, and we're going to go to the next call. I'm going to finish my statement on this. Is I just feel like it's crazy that we would get so upset about the integrity of the game, but then not care about racial problems in our society. So like if you're going to make an owner sell the team because he tried to pay a guy to tank, we should make all of these motherfuckers sell the team for poor HR practices. Like that's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal in our society to and like I just don't want to act like this game means that so much to me that it overrides this. Is that like we can and that's where I get upset. I've been upset today where it's like, well, who gives a fuck if this guy paid someone $100,000 to lose? The problem is that they offered one of the few black men who has been not afforded, actually that's the worst opportunity, earned this opportunity to be a head coach, right? Like it's like you're setting him up for a failure for something that has a very small, like that's where it really irritates me. Like, so if I pay me to lose, fine with that. So don't come to me and make this guy sell the team when there is this other bigger storyline behind this, not behind the scenes, actually right in front of our fucking faces. Next call.
Man, I'm Thomas in here, and I'm ecstatic about Tom Brady exiting stage left. Get that bum out of here. Maybe our Panthers, the luck of the Panthers can change here in the near future.
Get rid of Tom Brady. Oh, you know what? He actually did retire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's talking
Man, like
about.
officially.
I'm
like
so
officially, like it
that's
kind of
such-
dragged it out. I thought
that
he
was
should have
such back
gone.
and forth. Yeah, like that was a weird like sequence of events that took place. And I think it's actually kind of fucked up. Because I mean, we're in this scoop world that we live in now. And I think that Tom Brady wanted to have the opportunity to let the world know on his own terms. And I mean, I think that that should be something that can be respected, but it is kind of fucked up that when like they go behind his back and tell the world that he's going to retire, we already know that, and don't give him the opportunity to be the one to tell the world that. I mean, I get, again, this is I got to be the first one to get it out. You know, that's you know, the reality of the world that we live in. I get that, but it is definitely, I hate Tom Brady, don't get me wrong, but I do think that he should have been afforded the opportunity to do that himself, and you know, that does irritate me, the way that the media handled that.
I kind of think this is just the end result of the day and age that we live in. Everybody wants to be the first person to have the story, and you know, even knowing
It's
that
always
you played
been like that, though,
even knowing
really.
that you had a part, but especially in the social media age, it's worse than it ever has been. But like, especially if you're somebody in Tom Brady's camp that just wants to be a part of getting the news out early, that you go behind his back and leak that, you know, that bit of information, it's kind of fucked up. But at the end of the day, look, everybody says they hate
Nobody
Tom
gives
Brady.
a fuck. You're the goat.
No,
Shut
hold
up.
on. Everybody says that they hate Tom Brady. And dude, listen, I understand it. He's ruined a lot of people's Sunday afternoons. But dude, I don't fucking hate that guy. Like, if anything, I'm honored that I got to watch his football career, man. Like, dude, like kids growing up today, if they never watched Michael Jordan playing live, that's just the guy who, you know, owns the shoes, right? Michael Jordan doesn't mean shit to them when you compare him to like a LeBron or a Curry or whatever, because they never got to experience them play. Legends are going to be told about Tom Brady for a long time to come. And we all got to watch this guy towards the NFL. You might have been upset about it during the time, but like you were watching a once-in-a-lifetime athlete accomplish, you know, a once-in-a-lifetime career. So it's like, dude,
I know.
kudos
Imagine
to
if
the
you got
guy.
to see somebody that was that fucking great, like Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. Oh, shut up. Dude, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Like, I'm
that,
so
that,
sick of this shame. Like, I'm sorry, man.
dude,
I've
I don't
never
want to hear
been
about Wayne
angrier at
fucking
you than
Gretzky.
today.
Right now, I'm
What
talking
do you mean you
about
don't want to hear about Wayne
real
Gretzky?
GOAT. I'm talking about a real GOAT right now. I'm talking about Tom Brady. And I'm saying I'm happy that the dude is out of the division. And I also found it hilarious that he had like a 8-page farewell letter and didn't mention the Patriots at all. Like, didn't mention them at all. It only came out now that he's going to go and retire a Patriot and he's going to go and do this big ceremony and anything, but didn't say anything about the Patriots. I kind of believe that him and Gronk hated it up there.
Yeah.
And we're kind of happy to be away from that environment. But I don't know,
They
man.
didn't
Shout
hate
out to
that
Tom.
place at all. Shut up, man. They love that shit. They were gods there, dude.
Oh, that's why they were begging to get out by the very end. They hated
They
playing.
weren't begging. It was just tough at the end because, like, they were old and, like, it was rebuild time.
I mean, it's been
look. There's
well
stories coming out
how...
right now. There were stories coming out right now that like, oh, the culture, like Tom Brady didn't love the culture in Tampa Bay. It was too lax. Like I think this is an over narrative that the Patriots are like this super strict ass thing. I just think there's a lot of pressure. I think Tom Brady got to the point where it was like this. I'm older. It's cold as fuck. Messes with my bones and my skin. And we ain't like everybody opted out. Like, man, like, come on. Then we're gonna pay him. Like, what did the if you put that team with him on Bill Belichick, you think he can win a Super Bowl with them? Come on.
But dude, you can win a bunch of football games, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're having a great time doing it. They clearly wanted out. They had, you know,
Clearly wanted out.
They'd done everything. Tony, have you heard Rob Gronkowski talk about the Patriots? I mean, really, it isn't very low.
Rob Gronkowski is like the biggest party, and like that's like the worst guy to ask for.
But it's
like for
It's
the guy
also-
that's going to go to work for 10 years straight.
It's-
And on top of that, he came back and became more disciplined and serious than he's ever been. Like, he's a late bloomer when it comes to maturity.
He wasn't. No, he didn't even show. Like, he sent them like repeat
those
workout
face-
videos.
Yeah, that
I
shit
mean,
was
come on,
funny.
like he
It was,
wasn't
like,
more disciplined.
genius.
Like, it is well documented that the culture in New England is very, very unfun. But you go to the Patriots to win Super Bowls, right? Like, nobody goes to the Patriots and says, "I'm going to go up here and have a good time." It's well documented that they don't have a good time when they're as Patriots players. That's why you saw some of the greatest players go there and retire
going up
after
to the
1
New
week.
England Patriots and come and have a terrible time in North Carolina with us.
What is it?
Dude, I hear what you're
Jesus
saying,
Christ.
but
Come-
like, what?
Come have a terrible time. Have a better time with us in North Carolina. It's terrible. We lose all the time.
Winning is better than that, right? That's what I'm saying. Is like Tom Brady has won enough to where he was tired of that. I mean, I think that there's a value in that, right? I think Rob Gronkowski's the same way. Like, if you're constantly being injured, you've got the Super Bowls. I mean, why not retire at that point in time? Because you're not having fun going to work every day.
I don't think it's fun.
You
I don't
might
think
be-
it was that. I don't think that. I think it was Tom Brady needing to show the world
I think part of that
that
has
he
to do
was
with it.
more than Bill Belichick.
I can agree with that to a degree.
Like, so I just don't think it's like this, like, oh, like I just needed, like, yeah, he needed a change of scenery. That's exactly what he needed, was a change of scenery, or wanted. That isn't like a referendum. Like Bill Belichick, yeah, man, he's getting shit done, bro. He is.
I mean, he has also flat out said too that there's a level of respect that he didn't feel like he was getting in New England, that he wanted to, he wanted to. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, winning with another football team, he wanted to win another Super Bowl that wasn't with the Patriots.
Yeah.
And he was able to do
another
just
Tom,
that,
bro. That we need to find another Tom that played for Bill Belichick. And then text him and be like, "Congratulations on being the GOAT in your retirement."
And then, wrong Tom.
Oh, sorry, wrong Tom. Wrong Tom. That would be fun. Next call.
What up, C3 family? It's your boy Jay Stubbs.
What's up, Jay Stubbs?
How's everybody doing?
What's going on, bro?
Angel investor.
Kitty Tuesday. Just calling in, as checking with everybody, and Senior Bowl time, draft starting to unwind, and it's just really interesting. What a great weekend of football. Just touch base on our situation we got going on. I just think quarterback is gonna happen this draft. If you look at everybody besides Matt Stafford, I mean the two teams in the AFC were both on rookie deals, right? Mahomes kicks over next year, so we'll see how good they are. But this Kenny Pickett thing's picking up steam. Hopefully he don't come out and just kill the combine. So then a team picks him before us. But there's Malik Willis's. There's guys we can take if we can finagle away. Because I really think having that quarterback on that cheap deal just makes us able to build a team. And congratulations to Gilly for making the Pro Bowl. This is no hate. I just think that he didn't deserve it. I think Hassan Reddick deserved it more.
Yep.
But continue with these mock drafts, man. I'm excited for it. I like how Cody went through and kind of took Pickett first, and I saw Shaw took Pickett first, and kind of showing everybody, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to pick, and we're not going to have a pick for 2 rounds or 3 rounds unless we can get a second for McCaffrey. So I like it, though. If we can get Lindstrom in, the later 4th rounds and bring in a dominant guard, I do think a dominant guard will go a long way for this team. I don't want to take him as a defensive tackle or a safety, even though those are needs. And those are probably BPA, if we're being honest, at 6. But anyway, guys, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. 89 J Stubbs. That's one of our long-time listeners, angel investors, like Tony says. Yeah, I mean, look. So, Tony, the last two film sessions that we've done, we kind of marketed it as it's me trying to convince you that we should take the player that we're looking at.
Right.
Let me tell you. Eventually, you and I are going to look at Kenny Pickett, and I don't.
I want. By the way, how have I felt on all the players?
You end up falling head over heels in love with them.
I'll take them. Let me pick them.
I'll have 4 of those, please. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So, but I'm telling you right now, when I show you Kenny Pickett, you are also going to be like, I believe I see it.
I believe I see it.
Yeah, and so
I've looked at it and would say this is I haven't seen things that are bad enough to override the good.
So
the only very single thing I have, like, and this is just a rare eye opinion, but it turns out Tony's rare eye opinion is, or not rare eye. That's like, what is that? That doesn't mean anything. Like just like looking at from it, like common eye opinion is what I would say.
Untrained eye.
Yeah. Thank you. Is that like he just doesn't have like a cannon that would like a bazooka? Like at the end of the day, it's just like he's not breaking people's fingers throwing the ball. Like that's my only criticism. He catches people in stride. He moves in the pocket. He does all the things. The only thing I would say, like if there's like one, and it's not a reason not to draft him. It's just like not these strengths. Is that he just doesn't have a bazooka.
He doesn't have a bazooka, but neither does Joe Burrow.
Right. Like, I mean, if you can make all the neither does Tom Brady.
So neither does Russell Wilson. Although I will say Tom Brady had an underrated arm. Tom Brady was one of these guys that got thrown around. It's like, minor arm talent.
Like, I mean, he can throw the deep ball. I think
he had better arm talent.
Pickett throws the deep ball in stride. Pickett throws the deep ball in stride. He does all of that. I'm just saying, like, Cam, there was a point when Cam would, like, if you weren't paying attention and he hits you in the face with that, like, and you weren't looking, like, your head would be knocked off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is kind of beneficial. Yeah, it's kind of beneficial in the NFL.
Right.
Because things are so fast and the windows are so small. So it's just better to have a bazooka than not have a bazooka. That's all I'm saying.
And you look at Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow, not big time arm talent guys, but you can make that work. And it doesn't mean that they don't throw downfield either. A lot of people,
agreed.
A lot of people equate arm talent with how far you can throw a football.
Right.
And to a degree that matters. But when you ask me how I define football, can you drive the football from the opposite hash to the opposite sideline into a tight window, even on like a little 8-10 yard, out route? Can you make those kinds of throws? And I'm here to tell you, I have not only have I seen those kind of throws, I've seen more than one of them. And let me tell you, his film against
it's good.
But not only just his film overall, his film against my Clemson Tigers this year, dude, we had one of the better defenses in the country. And that man made some crazy throws.
He's good. He's very
good. Be on the
lookout
for that film.
He's got athleticism. I think one of the things that's underrated about him is how mobile he is. Right? Right. So I'm going to continue to say this is I'm not opposed to a quarterback at 6.
Right.
But if we pick a lineman, what we pick at 6 is going to determine what we think about Matt Rhule.
If we go defense, what is your thought?
If we pick BPA, if we pick a lineman, if we pick all of that, then Matt Rhule is a dead man walking. Like, I mean, the odds of him being able to do what it would require to keep his job, right? Like, I mean, the temperature, the temperament was so bad against him. Like, he shouldn't have had a job going into this year. It's godsend. God graces that he has a job right now. So what is he going to have to do to keep his job next year? He's got to make the playoffs.
Right.
He has to make the playoffs. And I don't think just adding a left tackle in the first round, even though that's like the best thing for the long-term plan, that is the best, like kind of the long-term plan. That doesn't save Matt Rhule's job. Kenny Pickett at 6 could save Matt Rhule's job. It probably won't, but it could.
Right.
Well, can I ask a question about Kenny Pickett? I saw in the chat room people talking about him being 24 years old and that being a negative. Do y'all look at that as a negative or a positive? Because Burrow's 25 now. I think the quarterbacks hit their stride in the NFL, especially if they're, I don't know how many years Pickett played in college, but I feel like 24, 25 is when a lot of players really start to hit their stride in the NFL, quarterbacks.
Yeah. Joe Burrow was older coming out. Again, everybody has a different road to it. I actually like him being a little bit older, a little more maturity, a little more, that his body is developed. He's a strong guy. I mean, you can tell by looking at him. He's built pretty well. I think another thing that gets lost on this when we're talking about Kenny Pickett is, one, he's from Pittsburgh, where David Tepper is from. He played for the Pitt Panthers. Matt Rhule, we already know that Matt Rhule, he
has a big presence, like quarter. Yeah, he tried to
get Kenny Pickett to come and play quarterback at Temple when he was the coach there. So there's already all these different connections.
What if the Panthers draft him at 6 and he goes, you know what? Fuck that. I won't play for y'all.
No, he came back this year.
Eli Manning on us.
No, he came back
Eli
this
Manning
year
did
too.
that joint, made him trade the pick.
Yeah, that was a different situation.
That's a Manning, though, yeah.
Well, it was also a different situation too when you look at, he didn't want to go to the Chargers, and rightfully so. But if you look at why Pickett came back this year, he wanted to improve his draft stock. Could have came out last year and thought that he could have improved his draft stock. And by the way, he was a Heisman finalist. So this guy really did have a tremendous
legit
season.
Man. That's what
42 touchdowns,
legit.
42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Everyone is going to clown him because of his baby hands, because of his small little tiny baby hands.
Did you hear this shit about this double joint shit? He
has a weird double jointed thumb that doesn't let his thumb go straight when they measure it or whatever. So he's like, when he's holding on to the ball, it's not an accurate measurement of how big his hands are.
What was that movie? Do you remember that movie? It was like a spoof scary movie, and the dude got the mashed potatoes. And
scary movie. The guy with the fucked up hands.
That's like Kenny Pickett's hand.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really good one. But the someone find a picture of that guy and we'll share it.
What? My other ones aren't good ones, Cody?
Well, this is better. I'm just saying this is one of the better ones.
We go to that. All right, so tell us about his hands and his cripple hands.
No, and this is the last thing I want to say. Don't move on to the next calls. As Panther fans, you of all people should be able to sniff through the bullshit here. When you look at all that we've been through this year with Brady Christensen and his short little T-Rex arms, that wouldn't be enough to let him play left tackle. Like, come on, it is obvious that this is bullshit. And I think that there are obvious ways in which technique and form and a bunch of different things can allow you to be a successful NFL quarterback, even if your hands aren't as big as you might want them to be.
But the mashed potatoes are great. Next call.
Hey guys, Joey again.
Cover me for a second, please.
Holy shit. For some reason, I did not know Tom Brady retired today. Which, and yeah, I said in the comments, I would have to say he's my favorite non-Panther because of the fact that, the dude went to a new team. Okay, he'd been with the Patriots for, 19 years, 20 years, however many. The dude goes to a new team. And the dude wins a Super Bowl. And he's like 40. He was 44 when he won the Super Bowl. Was he 43 or 44? I think he was 43. Anyway, he was old as hell. for the NFL. And he won the Super Bowl at 43. And he was pretty close at 44 as well. That was kind of weird. It was kind of odd how the division game ended between them and the Rams. I figured the Rams would beat them, but now that Tom Brady retires, okay, and it got me thinking that the Jags have the number 1 pick, and they don't need a quarterback. So now they got me worried because the Saints and the Bucks have some pretty good players that they probably ain't going to end up trading. So who's to say the Bucks won't trade, I don't know, Chris Godwin and Lavonte David to the Jags for a first-round pick to bump up to number 1, get a quarterback? Or the Saints won't trade some of their like Cam Jordan or Lattimore to the Jags for a first to get a quarterback? Yeah, dude. We're competing with 2 division rivals, including our most hated one. Anyway, guys. Wow.
That's one of the narratives that hasn't gotten talked about much that I think needs to, is that Atlanta could very easily take a quarterback. As Joey said, the Saints might, feel a little itchy to want to move up and go get a quarterback if they start trading players away.
Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah, and now no more Tom Brady in Tampa, and now they have a bunch of cap problems. Our division is wide open.
Right.
Like, even for as bad as the Panthers are, it's like, dude, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to compete with all the talent that we've acquired on this football team. With that said, I don't know, man. This draft is going to be one of the more interesting in recent history.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of different options available to the Panthers, right, that are still on the table, even more so than last year. We could reasonably take an offensive lineman, we could reasonably take a quarterback, or we could easily go best player available and just, take Kyle Hamilton if he's on the board. Now, Fitterer alluded that kind of wouldn't happen, but I don't know, man. It's really anybody's guess at this point. And I would just be careful of people judging some of these players a little bit too early without doing a deep dive into what they do well. So people are afraid of arm talent and hand size with Kenny Pickett. I wouldn't worry about either of those, based on what I've seen of the film. And we'll probably do a film review on him sometime this week. But even Malik Willis says as well, if that guy has all the traits that you want from a franchise quarterback. And I don't know. It'll be interesting going forward. What say you guys?
I think I'll tell you this. I think it's almost a certainty the Saints are going to trade away their players and some draft picks to move up. For just the simple fact they do need a quarterback, and they are in cap hell and a half, right? And so Sean Payton has basically said, "All right, well, we ran up the debt, and I'm out. Like, I'm not going to be here for you guys to have to pay it back. And then it's coming back on me as being a bad coach because we can't compete because we don't have the talent, right?" So I think that it's almost a certainty that they're going to be trading away some pretty important pieces in order to be able to move up and get that quarterback that they're wanting to build around from that point. So yeah, I think again, it's one of these things where I think we've really set ourselves up for failure. The way that we've handled things, focusing solely on the thing, like number one, not having a quarterback already, not having an offensive line. Like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. If we go offensive line, well, now we're going to be still needing a quarterback, and these other guys are going to have a quarterback, but they already maybe have all these other pieces, so they're going to be ahead of us again, even though they're in the start of a rebuild. A lot of these teams. Whereas if we take a quarterback, well, we're still back at the same position of not possibly having an offensive line to protect that quarterback, and we're still not able to, do anything to compete. So it's a tough situation all the way around. I don't think that I could see it being a lose-lose or a win-win depending on who's left on the board.
All right, next call.
What up, C3 Podcast? JSU.
What's up, Jake?
My take on the quarterbacks this year. Willis, he just Cam Newton 2.0. He don't excite me. Honestly, I wasn't even excited when we did draft Cam. I didn't want Cam.
Cam Newton?
But Clausen, he was a red flag.
Oh God.
We should have went free agency and got a quarterback. But Willis,
how are we supposed to listen to this call?
I don't want to take him. I will not be watching the Panthers this year. If we do pick up Willis, whatever his name is, Pickett, I'm hyped about Pickett. If we move back, if we do want a quarterback like Pickett, I can see the Broncos. They don't pick up Rodgers. I could see the Broncos picking him up. I could see the Washington football team picking him up.
Yeah. Like either you want them at 6 or you don't.
I mean, we wasted all the picks for last year by grabbing a boatload of cornerbacks. So we lost picks. We trying to gain picks. It don't make sense. Right now, we need a quarterback. We need protection as well. What will it hurt if we do?
All right, good call. Other than the I didn't want Cam part.
By the way,
like, how can you say that? Well, actually, he might just be he's being honest, but like in theory, in retrospect, like we got to reevaluate if we're looking at Blaine Gabbert as cooler as a long-term prospect than Cam Newton.
No, what are you saying? By the way, you compare Gardner Minshew to Cam Newton.
That's what I'm saying. No, I do not. It's personality only. It's all, but you misread that. It's like about like cool pizzazz swag he got going on. That's what I mean when I say he's white Cam. Is like he is a guy that comes out and sets trends. Dude, did you see there's a video floating around on the internet and like he's like using a samurai sword right now?
Who?
Minshew. Like he's like doing a samurai exercise. That's what I'm saying. Is like Cam Newton is ahead of us. You know, and that's what I mean by he's white Cam. Like if you look at his style, his swag, his drip, he's got Cam drip to him. He's got white drip. It's like Joe Burrow. Like Joe Burrow got drip.
No, yes. Joe, but those two are not comparable.
Don't just come
you
around
are not going to compare Gardner Minshew to Joe Burrow, dude.
No. What I'm saying is you're too equating drip to just success.
No, you're talking about
drip
style.
is like an attitude.
Yes,
it's like
Joe
an attitude.
I'm too old to get involved in this conversation.
I'm older than you, Graham.
That was Tony.
No, I don't want to hear this bullshit. You're just equating drip to success, and that's not the same thing. It's like more than that. It's like swag.
He's not
like
fashionable.
First of all right,
he doesn't have the bravado that translates on field. He doesn't have it, man.
Oh my gosh, he has all the bravado. He just doesn't have the on-field translation.
The reason
man ain't got no drip,
dude. The reason
he got the on-field.
The reason he compared Malik Willis.
Nah, get out of
here.
No, this is where the old man tells you what's up.
No, the reason that he compared Malik Willis to Cam Newton is that they have ridiculous arm talent. And
no, he
they're
said
really,
I didn't
really
like
mobile.
Cam. He said I didn't like Cam. That's my only problem. What's that got to do with what I'm saying? I just said that I'm upset. Like, if you just say you don't like Cam, then I ain't down.
No, the caller made a comparison of Malik Willis to Cam Newton. And even though one's a lot taller, it's not a bad comparison when you look at how they play. He also he originally was at Auburn before he transferred to Liberty. So, hey, man, it's not a bad comparison. It's better than Minshew to Cam Newton in any kind of way, dude. I'm on Jesus' side.
So, John Kelshaw says, does Pickett have drip? And I would say, yes, 100. I got a reason. Like, I mean, this guy got so much drip, you don't even know what to do with it. You know why? They created a fucking rule for him
Does that
like
mean Brady
the
has drip?
NCAA, the fake slide rule? That was Pickett. Do you remember in the ACC championship game? Boom! He's running. He's 6'3". He is balling, and he fake slides.
Yeah.
And the defender pulls up because he don't want a flag, and then my man took it to the house.
I always wonder why quarterbacks never did that.
Right, but it's like, and he did it with so smooth, like, you know what I'm saying? They made a goddamn rule after him. So yeah, dumb, bam.
But they didn't change the rule.
New
because
white
of that,
cam, new white cam, new white cam, new white cam. Yeah.
Cringe.
No, it's not at all, man. It's fucking amazing. Like, I mean, like that's the best thing about Cam is that he had the swag.
Yeah, but
So
no one
that's what
compares
when I say
to
white
Cam.
Cam, it's just like it's a version of swag. It's a version of that that's like admirable. It's a good quality to have.
It's admirable, but I don't like the comparisons.
Like here, all right. Do you remember
They're
this?
not
All
good
right. Do you
comparisons.
remember last time in our debate my take when we put that corny, nerdy ass picture of Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
And Kyle Allen,
Josh
and they were
Allen.
like, they might as well been in a barbershop quartet together. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're in a musical. They ain't got no drip, Holmes. I will hang out with Kenny Pickett and my boy Gardner Minshew all day over them cats. That's what I'm saying. And I'm sorry they're white, but they got white boy drip. I love
It's
it.
a white boy somewhere is what you're trying to say.
I just
cool.
watched
They're cool ass motherfuckers, man. Like the brothers, we didn't like them.
I am
If you say so.
very glad you mentioned that people are taking this Christian McCaffrey injury way too far.
Yes,
I've
thank
tried
you.
to explain to people the same thing you just said, and I'm very happy that you agree with me on that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not even lying. When you said that, you don't understand the biggest smile that went on my face.
People have been
I don't
going
get-
crazy about it.
I
Like, oh,
understand
he's
why
done.
people think
He's
we should
done.
trade him, but I don't think people understand how much he changes our offense and how much of a pressure reliever he'll be on a rookie quarterback or the next quarterback, even if it's Sam. I mean, you saw how much better he played. I mean, it's not that it's the McCaffrey show. It opened up so many more outs for Robbie and DJ and Tommy Tremble when he gets rolling next year. It makes the offensive line look better. They don't have to block as long. I'm not saying offensive line's not a need because it definitely is, but he's a huge asset. You know, when he's healthy, he's a top 10 player in the league. You just
Right.
can't trade that because of, minor injuries. They're not
And you
nagging
ain't going to get
injuries
no
that
trade
he-
value. Number
like, they don't
one, a
affect his
big
play,
contract.
and it's not the same injury that's reoccurring.
He is
I mean, you can
an
argue he's
asset
injury
right
prone.
now.
To the common eye, yeah, he is injury prone. But most people you consider injury prone have the major injuries that are reoccurring,
Yep.
or they affect the play, like Saquon.
Debilitating
He's never gonna be the
injuries.
same. You can see in McCaffrey's play, he's not changing his play. He's still dominant. So, I don't know. I just called to say thank you for
I like it.
Can I hop on?
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Listen, here's the problem. I think people are taking this as I think Christian McCaffrey his injury is going to change him, or it's a bad injury. It's not that. It's the fact that he's missed 18 games over the last 2 years. That's what gets me. It's not a matter of the injury being severe. It's the being prone to getting injured.
Do you
You're
think
right.
though that kind of the protection though of him missing games is like if we were in the playoffs, he would be playing. Like they put him on. I won't say prematurely put him on IR, but like it's like this. It's like we know.
So you're saying they
At the time you're healthy. All right, so they put a bunch of guys on IR in the last couple of weeks, and you're like, damn, man, they just got ankles. But they just know that like it's a 2-week injury, and there's only 2 weeks left of football.
Right.
So for them, it's an 8-week injury. There's only 6 weeks left of football. We're gonna fuck them all up, and we ain't gonna make the playoffs anyway. I feel like some of him not playing has been us protecting him. And that if we were really in the hunt in like going to the Super Bowl next week, he would be getting play time.
Maybe. I mean, they said, I don't disagree. When he's in the offense, he's great. And you're right. Maybe that is kind of the point. But when did he go out? He went out when we were still in a wild card spot at that point, right?
Oh, yeah. But like we were in a wild, but that was like man, it was so early. Like it was so early. I forgot what the injury. I don't even know why he was put on IR.
I think
What
it was
the
hamstring
injury?
one time.
Was it? No,
Yeah,
was it
hamstring
really?
one time, and the ankle the second time.
Yeah,
it was.
That was. I feel like those were last year's injuries. We're just repeating. Not you. You know, I'm not questioning you, but I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, what the fuck was his injury?
Yeah.
And then when I said ankle and hamstring, and then it was short, like those all felt like last year to me. So they're all. That's like who. What is the real ass injury? Is a question for me. And he is like the golden boy. He's like the $1 million man. You're like, you don't take the car, you don't take the Lamborghini or the Ferrari out of the garage unless you got the big date. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't let you just take that to the grocery store. You better be taking your prom date in that car. And I don't think we can trade him. And I think he could be a balling ass motherfucker still. So I won't sleep.
Receiver.
Don't sleep on Christian McCaffrey. Don't sleep on him just yet. All right. Let's go to the next call.
Yeah, hey, this is Raleigh Lee. Generally on here watching you guys. I'm a big fan.
Thank you for your support.
First time caller.
Man,
Appreciate you, Raleigh.
Sitting here watching you guys
nice.
debate about what we're going to do about the season. Matt Rhule needs to go before we make this pick.
True. Good point.
I don't think he's got the ability for the drafting in the NFL. He doesn't understand it. He's a college coach. Basically,
this brings
Matt
up
Rhule,
such a good discussion right
keep
here.
pounding. And with Matt Rhule, we ain't going to do it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you
and
so
much, Cody.
Thank you so much for your call, man. We appreciate your support and fantastic call because it unfortunately leads us into a big, large discussion and it's late and we still got to have it. I'm telling you this is what happens. He said, are you going to let Matt Rhule pick this pick? So we're sitting here. We've been talking about Pickett. We've been talking about Willis. We've been talking about all this. Imagine Matt Rhule makes this pick. We get that guy and it doesn't work out. Like he doesn't work out and they clean. Like we don't want to be Josh. Is Kenny Pickett Josh Rosen?
I mean,
and not because of the player, but because of the circumstances. Imagine if we picked a pick at 6, Matt Rhule gets screwed. Not screwed, just like fucks up and gets fired. Well, and then you bring in a new regime. What are they going to do? They're going to bring in a new, like, oh my God, like, do you want Matt Rhule making the pick? I think is the question the caller was asking.
Do you think Matt Rhule would make the pick of Kenny Pickett? Is really the question, because the thing is,
that's the only pick I think saves his job. So unless they go and get, I think Carr. I bet you the Panthers target Carr.
Maybe. But okay, but if that's his only pick that can save his job, and we all kind of agree that that's kind of the pick that we could live with, then it really doesn't matter if Rhule's there or not, if that's the pick that's going to be made or we think is the best
But
option,
you burn a guy. What I'm saying is like how many quarterbacks have been picked like that and then get burned and toasted, not because they were good or bad, but because they were part of the last regime.
Yeah.
Like Tua's done. Josh Rosen's done. I'm being like, what are some other quarterbacks there's got to be some other quarterbacks that have gotten toasted in this kind of GM coach shuffle.
True.
Maybe I'm wrong.
To me, the whole thing is a non-discussion. If you didn't trust Matt Rhule to make these decisions, you should have fired his ass.
Right.
He shouldn't even be here right now. So, nothing needs to change. There needs to be, we're going to stop Matt Rhule from doing this or this. Or, he doesn't draft a quarterback in this scenario. No, dude, it's all bullshit. He's the guy that you gave the keys to the kingdom to. And if you didn't want him making those types of big decisions, then you shouldn't have had him in that position to begin with, or you should have already fired him. Now, what I do think is that Scott Fitterer will be much more in charge of this free agent and draft cycle than Matt Rhule was in the past. At least that's what I'm
think
hoping.
you can look at this question and answer from Darren Gantenham, and I feel like he is a little bit more assertive. And he said this one thing. He said, "I've just got here 3 days ago last year when they were going into the what's the Senior Bowl or whatever that they're doing right now." Like he's like, "I was only here 3 days on the job." He said, "I got to evaluate the coaches and I'm starting to wonder, like, I feel like Federer's had a little bit more to say about these assistant coaching hires and their attributes. I think that he has been in tune with this. And I think, you know what? And kudos to Matt Rhule if he's swallowing his medicine and taking some kind of heeding some guidance at this point. Kudos to him. Like, that's what it's going to take to turn around, if it can be turned around. I think we have to I think we're seeing some breadcrumbs of, like tonight's show, has Matt Rhule learned his lesson? I think he might have a little bit. I think and maybe he hasn't learned it, but he's been taught it. How about that?
Maybe.
I think it's true. I think I'm on to something. All right, next call. Two more, and then we're done.
Hey guys, it's Joey again. For the third time,
Joey, third time. We're trying to go to bed.
There's like some changes in the front office about apparently we have a team president now, and
I saw this
dude is out. Like he went to go do something else. I found that out while I was actually eating at Hardee's.
Hardee's.
Y'all.
Yeah, the big
to bring that up.
steak
I don't know
burgers.
if y'all forgot about it.
Changes. All right, so
call,
here's
or you probably remember now, but does this mean it?
all right, I got you. So source, this is according to CarolinaPanthers.com or Panthers.com. Changes in executive leadership. Tepper Sports and Entertainment made a change in leadership Tuesday with several existing executives taking on new roles. Nick Kelly has been appointed Chief Executive Officer. Tom Glick. Kelly was like, have they been demoting anybody? Is there really anything part of this story? It really feels like this is like administrative shit.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? You guys tell me.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't think so. Yeah. All right. So looks like the guy who's representing Budweiser has changed. Next call.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing?
G.
It's G Cavassier. How y'all doing, man?
What up, G?
Hey, man. I've been watching, you know what I'm saying,
Life
TV
is
and everything
struggling.
and looking online and
Family
everything.
problems. Life
And why
problems.
in the hell
Sorry.
people are predicting the Panthers to draft that damn corner out of Cincinnati?
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's a no. I'm like, we just drafted a corner last year. You understand what I'm saying? I forgot the dude's name. And then some people are saying we should draft that damn safety out of Notre Dame. I forgot his damn name too, man. But that dude is nasty as hell. He's a good ass damn safety. You put him back there with Jeremy Chin. That
Remember my man's name though.
real. But give me your takes on that, man. And I don't see us picking a left tackle from the first round. I don't. I'm sold on Brady Christensen, and I am. We need a left guard, if any damn thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sold on Brady, man. How y'all think about that? Let me know, man. Keep pounding.
What do you think about the stories coming out about safeties? Look, you even heard Scott Federer come in the question and answer say safeties are cool, but I don't necessarily put them in the top 10. So how does that reflect to G's call right here? Like he feels better about some things, but has some question marks around the secondary there. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I think if we pick a secondary member, I mean, look, I understand Kyle Hamilton. That would be fantastic for our defense, but I mean, if you go Ahmad Gardner or Kyle Hamilton, I mean, listen, we've already spent so much on defense. It's really silly to not have us take some kind of offensive weapon in this draft.
Guys,
I really do believe that. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say we're already number 2 on defense, y'all. We can't get that much better.
I
right?
know. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. If you pick defense there, I'm going to be pissed at Matt Rhule, who has just been telling me his defensive dick is so big.
Yeah, him and Phil Snow, man. So
Like, I'm tired. Nah, man, Phil Snow's fine in the background. Like, I ain't got no problems with him. But, like, you can't come back to us and keep saying this. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. We're so close. We're so close. We got this 2 defense. Like, this is why I should have my job. And it's a fraudulent number 2 defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's fraudulent, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the number 2 defense in the league. I'm sorry.
Not by any means.
Like, I just watched it. It's not, and you can make a bunch of goddamn excuses for it, but they were not badass.
First 3 games they were.
You think so, Cody? Were they badass?
I mean,
if you say, what did you say, Greg? The first 3 games?
First 3 games, yeah, they were pretty badass.
Against the Jets, the Houston Texans, and the
our
Saints.
defense was great earlier, but they also fell apart.
Right.
They fell apart against lesser teams this year. So I mean,
they fell apart from week 1, from week 3 on.
I'll say
I'm
this.
not saying they stunk. I'm not saying they stunk, but let's not act like if we just would have had a quarterback, that shit would have been better. I'm sorry. This defense was overrated. And by the way, there's like 10 of these motherfuckers that ain't going to be on the team next year.
Well, we'll see how we're able to spin it. We need a few different players, man. That's why
we went over the free agency shit. There's so many
Panthers to do because you need picks.
Let's go. Oh no, that was the last call.
Well, let me get this point out then, right before we go to ice ups in. The defense was great, Cody. I'm sitting here looking at the PFF ranks, which I like to. That's a good gauge for me. We have 1, 2, 3 players on our entire defense that are in the top 32, which means they're number 1 in their position. 3 players that are in the top 32. And nobody in the top 10.
Bro, our defense is fraud. It's a fraud.
It's a little fraudulent.
It's a fraud, man. Look, is that we got a fraudulent Pro Bowler going in and Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Like, I'm not saying the defense is going to suck next year. Not saying that. Like, we can add Horn back. Maybe he's going to be full steam. That's going to make a lot of different. Like, that's going to be dope. You know, you can add some pieces, this and that. But if, like, Hassan Reddick, like, what is going to change next year? A lot of questions. I just don't all of a sudden go, oh, this defense is going to be nasty. Are you going to draft the Carolina Panthers defense in your fantasy football league?
Nope.
Not sure.
No, well, maybe that
maybe
is
for sacks only.
Take a defensive player.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe
what
Kyle
level is
Hamilton.
there not a question at? How about that again? Like, ask this about the Panthers defense. At like what position group is there not a question?
Well, Gilmore was 12th. He at cornerback.
He's gone. He's not gonna be on the team no more.
Then
no, you don't know that.
He's gonna be
you don't know that. I bet he'll be back before Dante Jackson's back. And I think that they are going to keep Gilmore. All
right, so you're saying cornerback is not a question, but you're guessing on we're going to find a solution. What I'm saying is this, is there's not a single level of that defense that doesn't have real questions facing it.
Yeah.
Our secondary is the best part of our defense, I could say.
Yeah.
Maybe, but there's real questions
when
facing
JT
it.
Horn comes back, yeah.
There's a lot of questions facing it. Who's your safety? Who are your safeties?
And
you know what I'm saying? Like, what is there's real questions? Like it could be a strength, but it could also not be. Telling you, don't be sleep and don't count on that defense was a fraudulent number 2.
Yep, I agree. I don't know how the numbers.
I would put like 5 different defenses up in Panthers history against that one, and say I want these guys to play.
All right, let's do this ice
All
ups.
right. We're done. We're done. Nah,
outta
but like
here,
you're just mad. All right, we're done. Get out of here. Who you want to ice up?
I am icing up Dan Snyder and the Washington football team. Well, I should say, formerly known as the Washington football team, because if you don't know, tomorrow they're releasing the new name for the Washington mascot and who the Washington football team is going to rebrand as. And it's been this big secret that really hasn't been a secret at all. The name has been leaked for a long time now. But more importantly, they're trying to make it this big, surprise that happens tomorrow. But they don't do a very good job at hiding it, as local Washington people have already been able to spot this. Workers were already in the building putting stuff up. And lo and behold, everybody can see the brand new name of the football team, the Washington Commanders.
Oh, wow. Smart.
And
the
everybody
internet always wins. The internet wins.
Everybody,
Thank
but
you.
it's also like, hey, you
But
couldn't
that's
have had
smart.
your workers. No, but hold on. You couldn't have had your workers come in at the crack ass of dawn early in the morning and put all this stuff up. Like, you're really, you're trying to make it out to be a surprise, and there is literally no surprise to this at all whatsoever. I just think it's funny. They put out their outfits, and I do have to say their uniforms, I don't hate them. They don't look as bad as you might think. I thought I saved it. Oh yeah, I did. Tell me what you think of these.
I'm telling you this, the internet always wins, bro.
Yeah,
it always wins. So like, I don't even get, like, it's gonna be late. If you don't want to see it, don't get on the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want,
these are their new jerseys.
What do you even like about them?
But if they release these jerseys and it says Commanders on it, wouldn't you? Or did they do that after this was?
No, so this is no. So this is a Washington account. It said, I've had these for a few days. Didn't want to be the first to leak anything, but since it's everywhere, I might as well share. It's consistent with everything else.
Since this guy took a picture,
still hoping it's the greatest
window
misdirection ever, because this doesn't reflect a 90-year-old franchise at all.
I think
I don't
they're
know. People
boring
are shitting
jerseys.
on them.
I got nothing to like about them. Don't like them at all. All right, so ice them up.
Ice them up.
Ice up to Dan Snyder.
Who you got, Greg?
I'm trying to decide between two. I'll just go with the quick one because it's late. I'm icing up whoever leaked Tom Brady was retiring from his camp, because that's fucked up, man. I don't like Tom Brady because he beat us in Super Bowls, but I can't deny how great the guy is, and he deserves to say that, make that announcement himself without somebody else leaking that out. And that's pretty fucked up that somebody did that. It had to be somebody close to him. I mean, you can't imagine he tells somebody that he would suspect would leak it, right? Or am I wrong about this? Wouldn't you feel like he would want to announce that?
Yeah, they definitely stole his thunder.
Yeah.
Well,
Again, internet wins.
I hate to see
Internet
that for him,
wins.
because I feel like he should have gotten that moment. But whoever leaked that more, I'm ice up.
I got a couple of ice ups. It's like a list of ice ups. Number one is to at King Woman, who and you know what, I deserve this. Like, you're gonna come in at me. Like I said, this is after Matt Rhule made his latest hire, and all of his assistant coaches now have 10 years of experience, basically, or more in the NFL. Do you remember that show we did like 2 months ago where I made you guys, showed you their bios for every one of the coaches that were on Matt Rhule's staff? And I have continued to tell you that I believe that Matt Rhule reads the headlines more than anybody. You know, like, he reacts to it. And in jest, tongue-in-cheek, I put out this tweet that said, "Convince Matt Rhule listens to our podcast. Miss me with a hate. Hashtag I believe." And this person, at King Woman, says, "I listen to a ton of podcasts, and I don't listen to you." And then she puts up like this crying joint, which is fine. Like, it's like, all right, she's like icing me up with poor ass grammar. It's okay. And a nice bag. Like, just give us a listen. It's okay. So I'm gonna ice you up because if you go back and listen to the podcast, I swear to Christ, for a long time I was saying his assistants don't have any experience. It's not him not having experience. So I would suggest listening to the podcast. The next ice up I got is to myself. This one's bad, folks. Like, this is the most cold ice you got to throw at yourself. Bad. So when I started this podcast a while back and we were trying to figure out the name, it's Rushed, Carolina Cat Chronicles. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were trying not to use the Carolina Panthers name in the shit because we were worried that we'd get sued because people would care about us. What we should have been worried about is people caring about us, not getting sued by the Panthers. So I left like the Carolina Panthers in the name intentionally, all of this. On top of that, all of us have mental issues, or at least I believe we do, or like insecurities. And so like when I take a picture, like I need to do something, like I'm trying to make a pose or something, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to do this. So for the last, I'm so embarrassed about this. I'm so embarrassed about this. For the last like 8 years since I started this podcast, I've called it C3, right? Mm-hmm. You've heard it. C3. So when I take pictures of people and, you know, you have that uncomfortable joint, like, you know, like you're trying to look cool, you're trying to do your thing, you know, what do? You pose, you do this, you do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to take a picture with somebody. I have for 8 years, I tried at once to throw the C and the 3 at the same time, and it was too much. So for like the last 7 years, I've thrown a 3 up when I take a picture for C3 for our podcast. Well, it turns out this is a goddamn white supremacist symbol.
Oh, I feel some type of way about this.
Oh no!
Right, like so I didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? Like so I didn't want to do the peace symbol. Like so I like want to do a picture. I'm trying to take a picture of my boys and stuff, and I have anxiety. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot coming on. Like say you're trying to look good in the picture. You're trying to do this. You don't want to just be like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to have a. For a long time, I was like, oh, for the podcast, I'm going to throw up a 3. 3. I'm telling you this. I've been doing this for godforsaken years, bro. And I saw a picture, and so I go to my local watering hole. They have like a professional photographer who comes out there every weekend. You know what I'm saying? He takes pictures and they post it on social media. And somebody sent me a picture and they didn't say anything. And they know not a single person has been like, oh, you're fucking with us. Right? Like if you see and I was like, wait, that was funny. And then I was reading a story about people doing the okay. And I was like, oh my God. Look, I have trouble. Look at this. I can't do the 3 like this with my left hand. And I'm left hand like I can't get it. So I do. This is how I do a 3. Oh my God. I have been so embarrassed. Like I'm shaming myself for fucking hours. I'm like feeling cool. I'm like, duh. And I'm like, God, I don't want to be a proud boy. I'm unproud of him.
Tony,
I hate this. I'm so sad that I have been that.
No, listen, I have to jump in on this. I've been thinking about this for a long time since I've heard of it. For as long as you and I have both lived, that symbol meant A-OK. When someone said, hey, you good for it? Boom. You threw up that symbol. Why do we
it
bow?
Meant C3 podcast for me.
Why do we bow? No. Listen, why do we bow? Why do we bow like bitches to the least amongst us. Here comes this white supremacist and said, oh, this is a white supremacist symbol. And the populace at large is like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what that means. No, it fucking doesn't, man. It doesn't mean white supremacy. For as long as we all have lived, that meant A-okay. And just because the least among us want to claim symbols for their own, it doesn't mean that we have to bow down to them and give it to them. We have to reclaim this shit, or else they're going to start coming from a whole bunch of innocuous symbols and start to turn them racist as well.
So
Tony, you have done not a damn thing wrong. You throw them motherfucking trees up to represent C3.
I look so cool
Bro,
too in the pics. I'm at the
then you
bar.
are cool.
My hair
There
is
is
flowing. I
nothing
got
wrong
fly
with that
clothes
handstand.
on. I'm like looking good. And I just did this. They took my picture. I was just like, and I just threw a 3.
Yeah,
and
dude.
all I meant was C3. I swear to God, I've been doing this for years.
That we are not doing. It's bowing down to white supremacists. That is not a racist symbol. You're still cool with Tony Dunn. Throw
I
them
don't want
threes
to
up.
be. I don't want to be misinterpreted.
Oh, fuck them. Bunch of pussies. No one here is racist against any kind of person for anything at all, man. I think that
Except for if your name is Matt Rhule.
I think that anybody who meets you, Tony, would realize immediately that you're not a white supremacist.
I know.
You don't seem to fit the profile.
Man, do you know how like crazy it is? Like if you knew, like you're like, oh, this is my family clan, and it's a fucking swastika. That's what it felt like. I was just like,
by the way, and like this is a much larger example.
So fucked up.
This is a much larger example, but the swastika before the Nazis took that symbol as theirs, it was a universal symbol for like peace and love. It's on shrines in Japan.
I want to be the guy that
it's on shrines in Japan. It's on. There are Native American
symbol.
people. There are Native American people that hold that symbol sacred. And dude, I'm just saying we got to start reclaiming some shit.
Look
man.
at this. Kevin, look at what Kevin says. He knows. He said, I know you are not a white supremacist when you're gay for Cam.
Yeah, you're gay for Cam.
I mean, it's true. I mean, it's and I've said it since. That's a man that's listened to this podcast from the beginning who knows who I am. The number is 252-228-5098. We want to get your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers as we go forward. How about this? I was looking at some other podcast people. Didn't I shamed this other person for talking shit about our podcast? She was like, oh, I ain't even heard of your joint. I promise you, Matt Rhule listens to us because I am telling you, he is backlashing against the fans. If he don't listen to us, he listens to headlines. Number 2. The second thing is, or the third thing is, you need to listen to us at King, whatever you were. I don't even remember your name, but you better listen to us. Number 4, Kevin knows me. I am a camsexual. All about that life. All about that life. And number 5.
You also masturbate to Minshew, but that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother line.
Yeah, who doesn't?
No, I gangbang bitches with Minshew, bro.
Yeah, that's right. He's your bang, bro.
Nah, fuck with that. He's cool as fuck. Don't underestimate my man.
We need to get the fuck off.
The last thing is we gotta get the fuck out of here. It's so late that we have. Look, this person was talking shit to me about how they know. She was like, I ain't never heard of your podcast. Well, I was like, I didn't say all this, but it's like, goddamn, we had 150 people watching this shit live. 100, like, that's dope as fuck. We got the best community ever. Shout the late night crew out, Cody.
Oh, some late night shout outs. So you're talking about our homeboys like Gator Country, Ja Rule, Joey the Flying Panther, John Colashaw,
can't see shit,
Kevin Boshoven, Panthers Rule, Paul Mancini, Rockhead 81, Seth Robinson, Tim Estes, to the C3 family. That's it for the C3 Panthers podcast. You know we're going to be back for a lit Friday free-for-all Friday at 7 p.m. There's also going to be some film review this week at some point. So hit that notification bell for every single time we go live. Now, if you pardon us, but these old men have to sign out for the night. Until next time, Panther Nation, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.